what he's planning to wear on the course.
Since shorts are starting to get shorter.
For Sports Talk 105.1, I'm Morgan McCarthy.
A cooler start this morning with 40s and 50s on tap, and we'll have more sunshine later this morning and into the afternoon with a few passing clouds later on as highs climb to the low 80s. Later on tonight, variable clouds give way to lows in the upper 50s. Tomorrow brings chances at a few showers and storms, temperatures climbing to the mid-80s. A lingering shower is possible on Thursday with highs in the mid to upper 70s. I'm Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike D'Andrea.
Why do you still drink that cheap, old, flavorless coffee? Why do you put your taste buds through that? Hey, reward yourself and those taste buds of yours by making a visit to Cabin Coffee in Altoona. And don't forget to try their breakfast and lunch menu too, because everything is made fresh. And if you're not a coffee person, no worries, because they have other beverages for you to choose from. Treat yourself by visiting Cabin Coffee in Altoona at the River Prairie Park in Altoona today.
Welcome to the Dan Kasper Show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's the show that features serious, thought-provoking sports talk and insightful sports commentary.
You knew it.
In other words, it's the show where they all talk a crap load about sports.
Let's go for it.
Now let's introduce your host, a man who lives and breathes and has a passion for sports. A man who breaks everything down in the sports world and gives you everything you need to know. Plus a bunch of stuff you probably don't need, but you'll still enjoy it.
You can't handle the truth.
Here is your host, Dan Kasper.
Prime time. Prime time.
What is up, everybody? Good morning and happy Tuesday. Dan Kasper Show on the air, on your radio dials, online, on the apps, Google and Alexa home devices, video streams, all up and rolling on this July 18th morning. Hopefully, if you're up and at it already, you're off to a fantastic start. If you're just getting going, it'll get better. But I appreciate you making us part of your starts on this wonderful morning. What do we got on the game plan here? Well, Brewers are back in action tonight as they take on the Philadelphia Phillies. Both teams battling out for some early playoff positioning. But the Brewers, a little bit of bad news yesterday. Wade Miley back on the injured list, placed on the 15-day injured list. For what is being called elbow discomfort. His next scheduled start was supposed to be tomorrow, but obviously that's not going to be the case anymore. So hopefully this is a short stint for Wade Miley. Wade Miley was definitely one of the positive players, positive performances, bright spots in the quote-unquote first half of the Brewers season. Even though he had missed 4 weeks, he was having a pretty darn good season, but now he's going to be missing some time. Hopefully, it's just a short stint on that injury list, but I think anytime we hear a pitcher and elbow discomfort, we get a little bit nervous, right? Well, we get a skosh nervous. So we'll see what the game plan is going to be for him. But again, he was supposed to start. I'm assuming maybe Colin Ray is going to get the start tomorrow now for the Crew. But it hasn't. If you go to Brewers.com and such, it hasn't been quite updated yet. But the Brewers are going to make a corresponding move today before that series opener. Game one, though, we will see Julio Teheran on the mound for the Crew. Now, Julio, it'll be interesting to see what kind of second half we're going to see from Julio Teheran here, because when he joined up with the Crew, because of so many injuries, to the starting pitching staff. He was a nice, pleasant surprise, right? I mean, he was going out there. He was pitching dang good. Just wasn't getting a whole lot of run support. But his last couple outings hasn't been good. Go back to the third against the Cubbies, where he allowed 6 earned runs. Before that, against the Mets, 7 earned runs. So hopefully we'll get the version that we saw through his first few starts with the Brew Crew, especially now with Wade Miley down with that elbow injury. But we'll preview this coming up in just a little bit. Aaron Nola is going to be the other starter tonight for the Phillies. So far this year, he is 8-6 with a 4.39 ERA. So we'll preview this game one of this. This tough stretch here for the Crew continues. Got job number 1 done with the sweep against the Cincinnati Reds. Philadelphia fighting for that for some playoff position, probably fighting for a wild card spot, considering how dominant the Atlanta Braves have been as of late. So Philly probably fighting for a wild card spot this year. So gonna be a big series coming up here for the Crew before they head home. And really, you got Atlanta waiting for you. You got Atlanta a couple times yet this month, and then Cincinnati for the final time of the regular season. So, but we'll chat some Brewers coming up here in just a little bit. Not really a whole lot in terms of like rumor mills or anything like that. It's hot stove's kind of quiet here a little bit. So, but if anything happens to pop up or anything like that, we'll pass along. Brewers did sign their top 2 draft picks, so we got that going for us, which is nice. Get them going and get them into minors and start their pro career. So we're going to continue our Packers training camp position preview series. We're going to take a look at the defensive line here this morning. Kenny Clark, led by Kenny Clark. You got Devontae Wyatt coming into his second year, first-round pick last year for the Green and Gold. I think there's a lot of expectation that he is going to get a whole lot more playing time, maybe even bolt into that starting lineup, I would think. But, Slayton, how much will he factor into some playing time, maybe on some early downs and such. But we'll take a look at this defensive line. And when you look at this group, do you have any concerns? What is your biggest concerns? I mean, I should mention there's actually a couple of Slaytons on here. I was referring to TJ Slayton. But, you got TJ Slayton, Devontae Wyatt. I guess, we could probably put a couple of the rookies, like Carl Brooks is considered a defensive lineman. I know throughout the draft process, there was some talk, could he be more of a pass rusher, edge rusher sort of thing, but he's a big man. I mean, he's a little under 300 pounds, but Carl Brooks is an intriguing player for me heading into this year. Again, he's a rookie, so I don't know how much playing time he's going to get, because we know how Green Bay can kind of get with some of their rookie playing time. But nonetheless, you got him. You got Jonathan Ford on there heading into his second year, more of that typical nose tackle player over there. So we'll take a look at this defensive line. Are you concerned at all with the depth at that defensive line? Anything concern you about it? But we'll preview that and hit that up coming up a little bit later on here as well. So speaking of training camp, we are edging closer and closer. We know that the Jets officially open up tomorrow, and early, I guess, recordings of the Hard Knocks and such. But we got some teams where their rookies are starting reports. Rookies for the Falcons, Ravens, Bills, Chiefs, Chargers, Dolphins, Saints, and Giants all report to training camp today. I believe for the Packers, it's the 20th. Off the top of my head, I think it's the 20th. I'll have to double check that. But we're getting there. We're getting pretty darn close there. So we'll hit that up. We got it is Tuesday, so it is a Grind My Gears Tuesday. If anything's grinding your gears, you can let us know. Get it off your chest. Hit us up with some text on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line at 715-830-1912. Hit me up on Twitter at DANKASPER, Facebook.com/Kasper Sports. Also, it is a pop quiz Tuesday, so we'll get you a pop quiz question within the hour and such. Have a little fun with that. Get your brain juices flowing here a little bit this morning. Also, we'll catch up with the Express. The Express are going to be back in action after having an off day yesterday, but they're on the road against Waterloo for a couple games here before they've got 4 straight games against Lacrosse. A little back and forth here. Thursday they'll be home. Friday they'll be on the road. Saturday they'll be home. Sunday they'll be on the road against Lacrosse. So GM Sammy is going to be joining us at about 8:05 for our Eau Claire Express segment, Eau Claire Express update here this morning. And then after that, we'll touch on some Badger stuff, some college football, college sports stuff with our Badger insider, Mr. R.J. Cardinal from the Zone in Madison. So we'll catch up with R.J. on all things Badgers related coming up in just a couple of hours from now. So got a full slate here for you on this Tuesday morning. Let's pitter patter and let's get at her. Let's open up things, talking a little Brew Crew baseball, getting ready for this series opener against the Philadelphia Phillies. We'll do a little bit of a mixture to open up the first hour here maybe. We'll get a little Brewers and start kind of dabble in our training camp position preview series as it continues. But, looking at the Brewers with this series opener against the Philadelphia Phillies, we'll take a look at the pitching matchups here, the lineups and all that sort of stuff with the Wade Miley injury now. So we don't know. It's a 15-day injured list, but I think anytime we hear, elbow discomfort, we get pretty darn nervous about it, right? I do at least. So with that, and kind of with Wade Miley's, I guess, injury history, especially with this year, he's already been missed 4 weeks of the season. Does the starting pitcher kind of move up in terms of a need by the trade deadline for you, or maybe not so much? Julio Teheran, we're going to see him tonight. What version are we going to see? He's kind of a wild card, right? I mean, if we know, if we're comfortable in the fact that we might get the Julio Teheran that we saw in the first few starts, maybe that answers the question itself there. But how much of a need do you think it is now for the Brewers, knowing that, Wade Miley, it's a lot of it is dependent on his health. When he's healthy, he's good, but you look out throughout his whole career, not just this year, but you look at the majority part of his career, health has kind of been a bugaboo for him. So knowing that, do you maybe kind of up the importance level of maybe finding a starting pitcher by the trade deadline? And then you maybe potentially go 5 deep if Wade Miley's healthy in that starting rotation when you get to the postseason, if you get to the postseason. What do you think? Would you move up? We were talking about bullpen help. We've been talking about middle of the lineup, middle of the lineup bat, somewhere in that 4, 5, 6 spot. But how much should we put in, or how important is it to maybe acquire that starting pitcher before the deadline? Kind of a back end rotation guy. Let me know. Hit me up with those texts, tweets, and messages and all that fun stuff. So let's get things going here this morning. We'll take our first break and then dive into it. Lead off. Talk some Brewers baseball as they open up this series against the Philadelphia Phillies. After these few words.
Got a take on today's topics but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
Register to win a Chevy Silverado 1500 at Menards. See store for details.
Get ready to save with half-off deals. A great way for you to get goods and services that you will love and you don't have to pay full price. Be sure to check out all the great savings that half-off deals have to offer. There's something for everyone, so be sure to see for yourself. Be ready with your credit or debit card and get ready to save. For more details and to find out about all the savings, just go to aroundthe715.com.
If Culligan isn't treating your home's water, you likely have water problems all around you, like hard-to-clean chalky residue on your shower, faucets, and bath, stains around your sink drains, spots on your dishes and glassware, plus dull, dried-out hair and skin, and problems you don't see, like scaly buildup in the water heater and pipes. But have no fear, you're in the clear with Culligan Products and Service. For all your residential and commercial water filtration needs,
visit CulliganH2O.com for your local Culligan water dealer.
The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is here and ready to help. Anyone can call or text 988 or chat via 988wisconsin.org to get connected to a trained Lifeline counselor. Trained counselors are here to support anyone experiencing a suicidal, mental health, or substance use crisis. You can also contact 988 if you are concerned about someone. 988 is confidential and free to all Wisconsin residents. 988 24/7. Call, text, chat. Here to support you. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Are you a veteran who needs assistance? Do you know a veteran who needs help? The Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs is here for Wisconsin veterans, their families, and their survivors. We can help connect veterans with services such as medical care, financial and legal assistance, housing, mental health services, substance use treatment, and more. For more information, please visit wisvets.com. That's WIS vets.com. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs.
By now, I'm sure you have done your share of grilling this summer. Brats, burgers, steaks. But one of the many beautiful things about shopping at Mike's Star Market is that they have such a wide variety that sometimes you find something new to try. And because we all know Mike's quality is the best in town, we always have our go-to options from Mike's Star Market. So keep on rocking this summer grilling season with Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. Check out Mike's Star Market for yourself at 2238 Heimstead Road on the west side of Eau Claire.
The brands you trust, prices you'll like.
When Wisconsin summers are hot, you need refrigeration that'll keep you cool. It's grilling, chilling, and spilling season, and Amundsen's Appliance has got you covered. Bottom mount Medea refrigerators starting at just $6.99. LG French doors with ice and water are the best price around at $18.99. Amundsen's in Eau Claire, Chippewa Falls, Rice Lake, and Hayward, or shop us online at Amundson'sAppliance.com.
Then the best place to buy is Amundsen.
Price, quality, customer service. That's the big three I look for when I'm looking to get a big project done. And sometimes it can be hard to find all those three in one place. But when it comes to replacing your flooring, one place hits all three of my marks. Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. They hit the pricing mark because they will match or beat the competition if you happen to find a better deal elsewhere. Quality is pretty easy because they have all the best and top-of-the-line flooring options that you could ask for. They carry the best brands in carpet, tile, luxury vinyl, and more. And customer service. I could talk to you throughout this entire commercial about their customer service. It's easily one of the best, most courteous, helpful, and friendly staffs you could work with. They're with you through every step of the process, from finding the floor that fits your budget and what looks good and works best in your home or office. Taking on big projects can be a little nervous to think about, but when it comes to replacing your flooring, that nervousness goes away with the help from Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Just visit them today at 3109 East Hamilton Avenue in Eau Claire and see for yourself.
Maybe you missed parts of the Dan Kasper Show because of the clown that lives in the sewer.
You will do.
Don't worry, you can get highlights of the show on the Man Cave podcast, available on your favorite podcasting platforms.
Why do you still drink that cheap, old, flavorless coffee every morning or throughout the day? Why put those taste buds of yours through that? How about you reward yourself in those taste buds of yours by making a visit to Cabin Coffee in Altoona? And don't forget to try out their breakfast and lunch menu too, because everything is made fresh, especially their Berry Good sandwich. Oh, that Berry Good mayo on there. Oh goodness, it was awesome. But anyways, if you're not a coffee person, no worries, because they have other beverages for you to choose from as well. So treat yourself by making that visit to Cabin Coffee in Altoona, River Prairie in Altoona. G-Man chiming in already here this morning. Brewers will win the series with the Phillies. Pack will lead the league in sacks. Can't wait for the Classic. Sammy is awesome. Go Brewers. Go Express. Big thanks, G-Man, by the way, for the Pro Vs for the birthday yesterday. Almost too nice to try to hit those out there on the course. Afraid to lose them. But big thanks, G-Man, and big thanks to everybody else who reached out with the birthday wishes yesterday. All right, let's hit this up. Lead off. Brew Crew taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. Let's do a little bit of a preview here. As we mentioned, Julio Teheran is on the mound for the Crew. And this is a big game for Julio Teheran, and I think not only just for him, but for the Brewers too. Maybe a little confidence, trying to gain some confidence back in what he can provide for this team. He was off to, his first few starts with the Brewers. It looked like maybe the Brewers had struck a little luck, struck a little gold, buy low, low risk, and he was really rewarding them with some really solid performances, good performances. But then the last couple games, it kind of maybe looked like the Julio Teheran that people have been seeing for the last couple of years. Go back to June 27th on that game against the Mets, where he went 5 2/3, gave up 7 earned runs, and then day before the 4th, July 3rd, pitched 6 innings, but gave up 6 earned runs against the Cubbies. Did strike out 7, but giving up those 6 earned runs. So a big game, I think, for Julio Teheran tonight to maybe get back on track from what we had seen him or how we'd seen him perform earlier this year. And then just for the Brewers, for the confidence, especially, with Wade Miley down, at least on the 15-day injured list, but give the Brewers a little bit of confidence that if Julio Teheran can go out there and pitch like we saw him, in his first few outings, maybe that can kind of help fill the void of a Wade Miley loss there a little bit. If not, if Julio Teheran goes out there and struggles again, and Wade Miley is going to miss some time there, does a starting pitcher kind of move up in the priority list here for the Brewers before the trade deadline? We'll hit that up here coming up in just a sec, but quick kind of some previews here. If you're looking at some of the matchups, and actually a few players have quite a bit of experience going up against Julio Teheran. Obviously, during his time with the Braves, it makes sense because Bryce Harper has 40. Bryce Harper has Julio Teheran's number. Okay, Bryce Harper in 47 at bats against Julio Teheran is hitting .404 and 47 at bats and 9 dingers, 9 home runs, 21 RBIs. Schwarber, 12 at bats, .417. JT Realmuto, 30 at bats, .233. Turner, 25 at bats, .400. So, the big time hitters for the Phillies, they've had some pretty darn good success against Julio Teheran, which, I don't know about you, makes me a little bit nervous for the game tonight. How about on the flip side here with Nola on the mound for the Phillies, 8-6 with a 4.39 ERA. His last couple of games here, he's been 2-1. His last one was against Miami on the 9th. He did pick up a loss there where he pitched 6, gave up 4 earned runs. Before that, though, in that July 4th game against Tampa Bay, big time outing for him where he went 7 1/3, 1 earned run, struck out 12. If you're looking at some of the history here, William Contreras got plenty of experience with 15 at-bats. He's .267, but Christian Yelich has had some success against him throughout his career. In 30 at-bats, he's hitting .333. Tapia's got 12 at-bats and also hitting .333 against him, including a home run. So other players like Adames, looks like they've got a game or two's worth, not a whole lot to really kind of, I guess, deciphering that. But Jesse Winker, DH, 14 at-bats, just .214 against Nola. So that's kind of your preview for tonight's pitching matchups going up against these offensive lineups here. So back to, Julio Teheran and does his performance tonight or maybe his next couple of starts kind of decide whether the Brewers might potentially look at acquiring a starting pitcher before the trade deadline. I think it's a possibility. I'll just say this. I feel like, we've talked about I think if we do like a priority order, majority of Brewers fans would probably say middle of the order bat, bullpen depth. But are we going to be upset if they go out and acquire another starting pitcher? I'm not. I'm not going to be that upset. That middle of the order, in corner infielder would be on there too. But I would probably add, something that maybe isn't being talked a whole lot about is maybe looking at right field. Because if you look at like the OPSs, the Brewers, right field have one of the worst, if not the worst. Let the double check it. Worst OPS by right fielders in all of baseball. I mean, they need to upgrade their offense from that right field spot there too. You got Weimer kind of holding it down in center field. You're not going to, if whatever offense you get from him once in a while, you're going to get a little bit of a run. He's displayed the power. He's got the speed. It's his defense. But, with him doing that in center field with a little bit of a streaky offense, you probably need a little bit more consistency coming out of your bat from that right field position. So we've been, the focus has been on corner infield, third, first in that. But I'd say don't necessarily kind of forget about right field and improving the offense coming from your right field. And, we were focusing on potential DH or infield or corner infield bats yesterday as possible trade targets. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Brewers look to maybe add a right fielder that can bring some consistency at the plate. Maybe that's where they get their middle of the order bat from. Might be a little bit more of a crop of players out there potentially that the Brewers can target to get that bat. So, I really don't think that a lot of us would be upset if they make a move and, it's they bring in a right fielder or they bring in a starting pitcher or whether it's a bullpen or whether it's a corner infield. I think the only way we might be upset is that they gave up a lot and gave up a lot of their future prospects down in the AAA or even AA or anything like that. But at this point in time, I mean, I'll kind of take anything right now for the Brewers because I think you can fit them in at different parts. If it's a starting pitcher, well, we've seen the health of their starting pitchers kind of go up and down. And, we're counting on and kind of assuming that when Brandon Woodruff does come back, he's going to be the Brandon Woodruff of old and get back to, what we saw. I mean, we just saw 2 games of him this year, but we're just going to assume that he's going to be the same old Brandon Woodruff. Going to be probably holding our breaths after the first couple games to make sure there's no setback from whenever he does return to that starting rotation. But, outside of, Woody and then Burns and Peralta, you got Wade Miley, who's on the injured list, but you got to factor in that he's going to be, dinged up and that sort of thing throughout the season. So you might want to look at a starting pitcher to potentially kind of bolster that starting rotation there a little bit too. So, but what do you think? Would you like to see the Brewers potentially go after another starting pitcher to get a little bit more depth in their starting rotation? Couple texts to get to here is looks like a couple of you, or I should say more than a few of you saying I wouldn't mind another starting pitcher to add to the rotation. More depth is never a big problem. This is from Greg. Greg saying, while starting pitcher wouldn't be the biggest need that I would have for this team, I wouldn't be upset if they went out and acquired a starting pitcher. Okay. This is from Ben. I wouldn't be upset at all if they got another starting pitcher. Having a 5-man rotation leading into the postseason gives you a little bit more flexibility in that department. Now, who would it be? I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure either. I'm not quite sure either on who that pitcher would be off the top of my head. It'd probably be I would assume maybe a fourth or fifth player at the back end of the rotation, right? Steve from Eau Claire saying big week for the Brewers. Is there a maximum amount of players that can be invited to training camp initially? For the Packers, well, you have a 90-man roster. You have a 90-man roster when training camp opens. That's your max of players when it gets to training camp. I'm assuming that's what you're asking, Steve from Eau Claire. So we got a lot of people texting in about the starting pitching. We got this is from Adam saying, I don't think the Brewers need another starting pitcher. Maybe I'm putting a lot of confidence in Julio Teheran again, but I don't think that is the biggest need for this team right now. Got to get an impact bat, whether it's from the outfield or the infield. So I'd say the majority is probably a little bit. It seems like the majority of you right now in the texting line kind of like, yeah, I wouldn't be upset if they go out there and got a starting pitcher. It's probably not the biggest need, but add a little bit more depth to it, maybe, perhaps. So, but I wouldn't be surprised. I know we've been talking a lot about, right field or infield, corner infield, getting that bat over there. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the Brewers kind of look at bringing in a right fielder to really improve that production coming from that spot. I mean, this was from a couple weeks ago. I'll have to see if I can double check it, what the numbers. But I know right field was at one point. I think it was the end of June. Yeah, these numbers were from the end of June for right field for the Brewers when you're looking at OPS. But they were 30th. I mean, that was dead last at that point. Yeah, because remember we went through these numbers back. Yeah, it was the end of June, and they were 30th, dead last in OPS from that right field spot. And they've had, not a lot of consistency from that right field spot in terms of who's played it. It's been, Weimer initially, then it's, Brian Anderson's been out there, Tyrone Taylor, guys have just kind of been plugging in over there. The Garrett Mitchell injury kind of, threw things in a little bit of a flux there where Joey Weimer had to move over to center field and such. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Brewers maybe kind of target a little bit of right field help before the trade deadline. So kind of maybe keep your eyes on that. I know MLB.com has, if you're looking at maybe some trade rumors or some trade candidates and such, they've got an article up, best potential trade candidate for every position out there. And if you're kind of looking at it, one of the guys at first base, if you're looking at maybe the Brewers getting a first baseman, we mentioned him yesterday, CJ Cron from the Rockies. He was an all-star in 2022, but he spent about a little over a month on the injured list this year, just recently got back. And as they write on here, he isn't viewed by most as a big impact bat, but teams such as the Astros, Brewers, and Padres, who rank as the bottom three in majors and OPS at first base, might view him as an upgrade. All right. Possibly. If you're looking at, right field, a lot of guys are on here listed from the Rockies for this they call it the all trade candidate team. A lot of players, quite a few players from the Rockies on here. So if you want to check that out, that's at MLB.com. So, all right. We're going to take a quick break here, and then we'll get back to some more of your thoughts. We got a few more texts coming in about the Brew Crew here. We'll get to those, and then we'll hit up a little training camp position preview series. We're going to take a look at the defensive line for the green and gold. Yesterday, we hit up the quarterbacks. Today, we'll try to go back and forth between offense and defense. So, defensive line here, obviously led by Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt heading into his second year, first-round pick from last year. I think everybody's expecting a big jump from the sophomore this year. Where else will Kenny Clark get help from on the defensive line this year? Where else will he get a little bit of help? Let's hit that up. Coming up in just a few minutes.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
The Shoe Doctor is known for quality footwear. Remember, the Shoe Doctor can keep your feet comfortable during all the different outdoor weather and activities here in the Chippewa Valley. Work boots, casual shoes, sandals, and more. From brands you trust like Keen, Merrill, Chaco, and Dansko, and that's just to name a few. Located on Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire, you can also visit them online at ShoeDoctorFootwear.com. The Shoe Doctor, quality footwear for work, sport, and fun.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm no Bob Vila or even Tim the Toolman Taylor. So when it comes to home improvement projects, I'm comfortable in admitting that I'm not the smartest tool in the shed. That's why when it comes to big home projects, I need someone I can trust to complete these projects for me and do a job well done. That's why I fully trust the team at Carpet City Flooring Center. See, we've got some big flooring projects coming up for our home. I wouldn't even know where to begin with the whole process if it wasn't for everyone at Carpet City Flooring Center. They're helping me pick out the flooring that looks best in our home, fits in our budget, and they're doing the measuring because me and math don't get along, and of course, professionally installing it. No poor looking floors like some of the floors in my home already look like because of the previous owners. So if you are just like me and you need just a little or a lot of help when it comes to your flooring projects, don't stress it. Make it easier on yourself and visit the good people at Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. They're located at 3109 East Hamilton Avenue.
Are you up all night tossing and turning over your business's unsuccessful online marketing strategies? Midwest Family Eau Claire's digital team can be the warm glass of milk and cozy blanket that ensure a restful, worryless night's sleep. Let our team at Midwest Family Eau Claire turn your business's digital presence into profit. Go to MidwestFamilyEauClaire.com today and find out how our integrated marketing solutions take the complexity of digital marketing out of your busy hands. MidwestFamilyEauClaire.com.
This is Scott Pasak, owner of Colfax Chevrolet. We have a fantastic selection of vehicles in stock, and if you don't see what you're looking for, we will find it for you. We strive to provide an excellent customer experience, so stop in and see what makes Colfax Chevrolet different. Visit both of our lots in downtown Colfax, and for a buying experience completely online, visit colfaxchev.com. It's always a fantastic day at Colfax Chevrolet.
You don't plan for a computer virus. You don't plan to lose files. You don't plan to knock your laptop off the counter. And you don't plan for your PC to crash or your screen to freeze. But Staples has a plan. A plan for unlimited virus protection. A plan for help when you need it 24/7. Staples Total Support Plans are your tech plans for the unplanned, starting as low as $199.99. And although you didn't plan for this, right now at Staples you can also get $250 off select computers. N729 in-store only. See associate for details.
What's the special today?
Well, I've got half-price geofencing with a side of SEO, double bubble on all PPC, and 50% off all OTT CTV contracts.
Sound familiar when you were looking for marketing options? Are vendors selling you their tactics rather than your solutions? Then let the marketing mixologists at Midwest Family Eau Claire come to the rescue. Midwest Family Eau Claire isn't about hitting their sales quotas. They're about helping you hit yours. Go to MidwestFamilyEauClaire.com today and find out how their integrated marketing solutions make just the right marketing cocktail for you. MidwestFamilyEauClaire.com.
All aboard! The Eau Claire Express are back. They're taking the field once again this summer, and you can support Eau Claire Express baseball at historic Carson Park all summer long. General admission tickets and grandstand tickets are available, and you can check out the rest of the 2023 Express schedule at EauClaireExpress.com or on their Facebook page. Enjoy summer baseball with the Eau Claire Express.
Hunters, are you looking for a brand new firearm to take with you to the woods? Or maybe you want to save a little money and are looking at getting a high quality used firearm? Whatever the case may be, if you're looking for a rifle for, say, deer hunting or shotgun for your turkey hunting adventures, look no further than Tilden Gun. Tilden Gun features a wide selection of new and used firearms. And if you're looking for a particular firearm, Tilden Gun will help you find that firearm for you. And plus, they have a wall of handguns for you to check out as well. And you know you're going to need some ammo, targets, cases, scopes, and other accessories too. Well, Tilden Gun has all the accessories you need to properly outfit your firearm to hit the woods. Tilden Gun has the biggest selection, all at the best prices in the Chippewa Valley. So here's what you do. You can visit tildengun.com to see what all Tilden Gun has to offer. And you can stop by Tilden Gun and check out their amazing shop and see what they all have in store. Visit Tilden Gun today at 12427 98th Avenue, Chippewa Falls.
There aren't many people as sports smart as he is, so he tries to use tiny words so people like me can easily follow along.
That doesn't make sense.
The Dan Kasper Show.
By now, I'm sure you've done your share of grilling this summer. Brats, burgers, steaks. But one of the many beautiful things about shopping at Mike's Star Market is that you have such a wide variety that sometimes you find something new to try on the grill. And because we all know Mike's quality is the best, we always have those go-to options from Mike's Star Market. So, point of that is keep on rocking this summer grilling season. Head on over to Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. Try something new. Get your favorites over there, like the dill pickle and cheddar brats, because portions of those proceeds go into help Backyard Dreams. Grab some snack sticks as well, or whatever is your favorite go-to grilling items out there, and keep on rocking this summer grilling season. Next week, training camp opens up for the Packers. Some teams already welcoming in rookies today. That's the Falcons, the Ravens, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Dolphins, Saints, and Giants. Jets fully open up their training camp tomorrow. But Packers will be opening up their training camp a week from tomorrow. So we've kind of kicked off our position preview series leading into a training camp yesterday. We hit up the quarterbacks. And today we'll take a look at the defensive line. And it's led by Mr. Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark. I think it feels like for the last couple years, we've been like clamoring for some help for Kenny Clark on that defensive line. You know, they brought in Reed last year. They've kind of brought in a couple other guys and this, that, and the other thing and such. But we've always been, it just seems like we've been clamoring for some more like consistent help for Kenny Clark, and haven't really seen it. I mean, we've seen some bits and pieces there. Reed started off a little slow last year, then had a couple good games and such, and he's not back with the ball club. He's moved on. So, I mean, the Packers are asking a lot for, you know, TJ Slayton to maybe play. You know, he's slotted in as, I would imagine right now when training camp opens, as that typical nose tackle, early downs, run stuffer type of player. Devontae Wyatt, I think we're all wanting and, you know, expecting a big jump from the sophomore first-round pick last year. We didn't see a whole lot of playing time from him, you know, playing behind Kenny Clark and Reed out there. So Devontae Wyatt, there's going to be a lot put on the sophomore shoulders. We talk about, or we hear about all these, you know, sophomore slumps and some of the rookies kind of hitting that sophomore slump. Devontae Wyatt cannot have a sophomore slump this year. He just can't have it. He's got to be a focal part of this defensive line. He's got to be part of that group that is collapsing the pocket, stopping the run. That's the biggest thing I think we all want to see from this Packers defensive line is consistency in stopping the run, being better at stopping the run. I mean, I feel like we've been kind of hanging the table for that for quite a bit for the last couple of years here. I mean, last year towards the end of the season, last few games, it was getting better. Right. I mean, that's kind of been the talking point. I know Joe Barry has talked about it in the offseason. Is like, you know, how do we start off better? You know, we can't afford to go in the season, you know, kind of starting off slow and not playing good football. Then towards the end, playing better. I mean, they can't afford to do that. Green Bay, if you're looking at total rush yards allowed last year on defense, they were near the bottom. So the number one team was actually, let me see if I can bring this up here quickly. So Green Bay was 26th. They were 26th in rushing opponents' rushing yards per game last year. Tennessee was actually number 1. San Francisco was number 2 on that list. But Green Bay was 26, 139 and a half yards per game. The Chargers, the Giants, Detroit, Seattle, Chicago, and Houston were also all on there too. So that has got to be a big, big improvement. And the thing is, if these guys like Devontae Wyatt and Slayton and such aren't going to be impact players, offensive line can just continue to key and focus on Kenny Clark. They can double team him. They can, heck, if they want, they can triple team him if these guys can't beat their one-on-ones and be effective in stopping the run or even collapsing the pocket on quarterbacks. Wyatt and Slayton, these guys have to step it up this year to help out Kenny Clark so he can not face as many double teams out there and maybe allow Kenny Clark to be a little bit more versatile. If Wyatt's out there and Slayton's out there and they're doing their jobs well and they're doing it good and they're holding their own, maybe that allows Joe Barry to be a little bit more flexible, creative with a guy like Kenny Clark, where maybe he can go after the quarterback here a little bit. And you don't have to pigeonhole him as just, being a run stuffer. Maybe you can move him around the defensive line. There's a couple of rookies that I don't know how much of a playing time they're going to initially get, but I'm kind of intrigued with him. One is Carl Brooks. I mentioned him earlier from Bowling Green. Lasted till the 6th round. Again, this is why the draft's a crapshoot and mock drafts. Mock drafts, a lot of them had him, as more of a mid-round, 4th round, 5th round sort of thing on there. And I know some draft profiles kind of had him as an edge rusher, more of a 4-3 defensive end. And I'm kind of curious, and he's one of the guys that I'll be kind of watching in preseason and training camp here to see, one, how he performs, but maybe kind of get a glimpse of what his role could be on this team. 6'3", 296, maybe a little bit on the lighter end of a 3-4, typical 3-4 defensive end. But I'm curious to see, how does Green Bay use him in certain packages if they give him a chance to get on the field, because I think he provides a unique kind of skill sets. Because if we go back to his draft, more getting after the pass rush or getting after the quarterback, powerful guy, bull rusher type of player. And Joe Barry kind of utilize him if they give him the opportunity to get on the field this year. The other player, I don't know how much we're going to see from him this year. A lot of it's going to come from preseason and training camp. But Colby Wooden. Now, Colby Wooden he's listed as a defensive lineman, but he might be more as an edge rusher for Green Bay, considering, his size and that. He's listed at 6'4", 270-some pounds from Auburn. But again, if he's if Green Bay's got him on the defensive line, and depending on which depth charts you look at, like I'm looking at the mothership ESPN, they got him listed as a right defensive end on that 3-4 base front. But that's a guy that, you're kind of mostly looking at maybe getting after the quarterback, coming off the edge. And he's got the intangibles, high football character, locker room guy. I was looking up his draft stuff earlier this morning to kind of refresh it. And I remember this line was from a scout that said he's a coach's dream. Nobody's going to outwork him, and football means a lot to him. And this was a guy that Green Bay, got in the in the 4th round. He was a 4th round pick. So mid-round pick, you'd think he's going to get some opportunity out there, but initially on some of the depth charts, he's a little bit lower. But again, is he that guy that probably can stand up in a 2-point stance, maybe put his hand in the dirt for a 3-point stance? I wouldn't be surprised if Green Bay kind of plays around with him in the early parts of training camp, preseason to see maybe where his best position is at this point in time. But, we're kind of focusing on him as being a defensive lineman right now. And I think initially he might be a guy that's going to go out there and his main job is going to be rushing the passer, going after the quarterback. Maybe he's that guy. We've been talking about how do you get your best players on the field all at the same time on defensively. And, we were kind of focusing on the edge rushers at that point. Remember, this was, I think a couple weeks ago we were talking about it. And, with Lucas Van Ness and assuming Rashawn Gary's healthy and you got Preston Smith, how do you get all three of those guys out there? And we were kind of throwing in the, remember when Zadarius Smith was still on there and you had Rashawn Gary and Preston Smith. Zadarius Smith was a guy that would come up the middle. Maybe this is a guy that can you can have lined up and blitzing up the middle a little bit because of his speed and his size that he can, get off that line of scrimmage, get off the center and kind of put up that pressure up the middle, coming up the middle of that defensive front. Maybe. I think this is a guy though, Colby Wooden, as training camps going on, preseason's going on, kind of pay attention to him and see where he's going to be lined up, see what the Packers have planned for him, maybe a little versatility. It might be a little bit of like, we're going to try him out here, try him out there, see where he can initially make an impact. With these younger guys, it's all about how do you get on the field right away and how can you help out the team right away? Where can you make that positive impact right away? And I think that's where they got to find that role for Colby this year. I think he's an athletic freak. He's got the traits. We just had that quote from that scout saying he's a coach's dream. But now it's going to be the coach's job to find him, to put him in that position to affect games. Last year he had 11.5 tackles for loss, 3 forced fumbles at Auburn, lined up all across the defensive line there. He actually has 30 tackles for loss in his Auburn career and 15 sacks. So I'm kind of interested in both him and Carl Brooks to see, can they make an impact in their rookie years? Because I'm all about the rotation, too, when it comes to a defensive front. I like rotating guys in and out. I want to keep guys fresh. I want to keep those big guys fresh out there. But if you don't have that depth to do it, that gets pretty tough. You're looking at it right now. I mean, how many times do you want Kenny Clark off the field if you're the Packers? Probably not many. You probably don't want Kenny Clark right now off the field too many times because you got questions about that depth. It's a lot of inexperience behind Kenny Clark. You don't have a lot of veteran help out there. You got TJ Slayton, who's entering his 3rd year, Devontae Whitehead entering in his 2nd year, then you got a couple rookies out there. So, but I know when training camp opens next week and preseason's going on, because you all know me, I love me some preseason football. That's my jam. Carl Brooks and Colby Wooden are going to be 2 guys that I'm going to be excited to see and curious to see what their role is going to be or how they look. Probably not going to get the greatest forecast of how much they're going to play in the regular season this year based off of training camp and preseason, but it's all about first impressions too. If they want to get on that field this year, they got to go out there and dominate preseason and training camp. So, but I think the biggest concern when it does come to defensive line is maybe the experience behind Kenny Clark at this point. All right, we only got a few minutes to the top of the hour. So coming up, we'll get to some sports nuggets of the day, and then I'll get you your Tuesday pop quiz trivia question just past the 7 o'clock hour. So we'll hit that up. We'll go through some sports nuggets of the day and all that fun stuff too before we get back to a little Brewers and green and gold chats before we finish up the first hour. Good morning, Morgan.
Hey, Kasper, did you guys head out to the fair? Numbers are in record
We did.
setting. Were you part of that? Yeah?
Yeah, we were there Saturday.
What was your highlight of the fair this year besides the people watching, which I might say gets a little bit better every year? I used to think the fair and airports were neck and neck for people watching, which is one of my favorite activities.
Yeah.
I think the fair is the winner.
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you find out there that made your highlight reel?
I don't know if I really. I mean, I
Did you play
always
any
go
games?
for the food. Hudson did, but
Yeah. What how'd he win? Anything?
He won 4 stuffed puppies. This is all about his bed is covered with stuffed animals and
Yeah.
all dogs.
Kid after my own heart. That's what
Yeah,
I did
it's
too.
literally all dogs right now.
Which I have to say, just a little connection to that. So through the Humane So I mean, we have our dogs, but through the Humane Society, we foster dogs as well. And we were fostering a dog we had her for over a month, so quite a while, and super sweet dog, and anyway, she found her, forever family, happy to say she was adopted, but the guy that, was the family that adopted her was playing in the National Coupe Championship this year.
Oh, nice.
And was talking about going there this past weekend, and it's like a thing, like, they have
Yeah.
practice during the week, and
Oh,
they
yeah.
were getting heated about it, so just a quick congrats to the team that won. He did not win, it was close, almost, to the finals.
We
But
before that, a couple weeks ago, we interviewed the world and national champion who was, I think his team finished second this
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
Greg.
Yep,
So,
yeah, congrats. I like that, that's good to keep home. So, what was the best thing on a plate or a stick that you got?
I'm casual, so it was, my cheese curds and that sort of stuff. But,
Yeah, you always gotta go
do you
cheese
call
curds.
it okay, so Veronica wanted fried bread, she called it.
Funnel cakes.
Is it funnel cakes or elephant ears?
Funnel cakes.
I call it elephant ears.
No, that's something different. I thought that was something
it
you get
something
out of the
different?
bakery section.
Okay. I don't know because
To me, funnel cakes are midway only. You
so
can't
this
go and get a
was
funnel
it was
cake.
flat and just powdered sugar on it.
If it's flat, I think it is an elephant ear.
That's what I called it. And when we were walking by, one of the carnival workers yelled at her, said, "That looks really good. I love elephant ears." And I'm like, boom.
There, so you got to win.
I did get a win.
So you feel like you
I
walked
called it
away from
elephant
the midway
ears.
a
She
victor.
called it fried bread or fried dough. They called it too.
Sorry,
So
I think I'm going to put that win in your column, Casper.
I've
Sounds like
never
a win
heard it
for you.
called fried bread before.
So if you were coaching, I know you're talking about the depth chart and all of that and having depth on the roster right now, made me think about this. If you were behind the clipboard, if you were coaching on the sidelines, give me your dream and your nightmare player to coach. Doesn't matter if it's a current player or a past player. But we'll keep it football. We'll keep it Packers. Who is a dream player that you would have loved
Bart
to have
Starr.
been on the sidelines to coach?
Bart Starr.
Okay, so tell me why.
He won't give you any grief.
Just gonna go out there and
Just
do a good
respect.
job?
Yeah, exactly. He's just I think he's probably the definition of a leader.
Okay. So,
And he
but
called a lot of his own plays there too. So
would make your job as a coach pretty easy because
Yeah.
it's Bart Starr. So then
Right.
on the flip side, if you knew you had somebody that had talent, and this happens all the time across lines in all sports, obviously somebody that's talented but just a nightmare as a
Packer
person.
related, Packer
Let's
plays?
say Packer related. You're behind the clipboard. Your dream player is Bart Starr. Who do you not want to touch? Who's your nightmare player? Just because it would be a complete headache.
Aaron Rodgers.
Bingo. Drama mama. He is
Yeah.
a drama mama. It's completely ridiculous. That's
Yeah.
what I would say too.
I agree.
Matt LaFleur might agree with you right now on that.
I think
though,
so.
too.
I think so.
We'll have to see what the next coach up to bat has to say about him.
Exactly. All right. Thanks, Marks. We'll
Hey.
be back after these news
Thank you.
updates.
WAYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk 105.1 and 790 AM. From the 715 Newsroom, it's Morgan McCarthy with your news on Sports Talk 105.1.
Well, good morning. Here's what we're learning today. More information now, and a woman whose death is under investigation in Eau Claire County has been identified as 77-year-old Diane Berthold. The Eau Claire County Sheriff's Office says right now her death, while considered suspicious, appears to be an isolated incident and poses no threat to the community. Deputies had responded to the home on McElroy Court in the town of Washington last Thursday night, where they found her body. Also, an 81-year-old man who was in need of medical care. More information on this update online, 715newsroom.com. Well, construction on the main parking lots in Eau Claire County Government Center has begun. So if you're headed downtown, just a heads up there, going to work on that probably through the end of the month. That work is focused on parking lots A and B of the Government Center and will result in the closing of Oxford Avenue between Grand Avenue and Lake Street during construction. So if that hiccups your travel or commute, just a little bit of an orange cone heads up. Well, we're downtown. We'll unpack those suitcases for a while and stay as travel writers are doing that. An estimated 300 travel bloggers in a conference in our area now known as the 2023 North America TBEX. Eau Claire is in good company. The annual event has been held in Greece, New York City, and Spain, but Eau Claire was the top choice this year. So welcome to everybody in our area for that event. And if you happen to travel to walk the Midway, you weren't alone. 114,000 people attended the Northern Wisconsin State Fair, which did set a new record and generated millions for the local economy. Chamber of Commerce say the fair provides a big economic impact for the region every year. Well, student athletes would have to play on a team that aligns with their biological sex under a bill the GOP lawmakers in Madison have reintroduced. The first version of the bill, called the Save Women's Sports Act, failed to pass last year. A closer look at the political scene sees some Democratic lawmakers opposing the measure, saying it will only subject trans youth to more bullying and exclusion, but showing you different sides so you can decide. Republican State Representative Barbara Dittrich says the bill would prevent women's sports from being lost to biological males. And what if your sport is swimming? Can you do it in a Speedo?
It's true that fashion comes back around. The Speedo is making a return across the globe. Sales are up 200% in Europe, the Middle East, even Africa, up 54% right here in the U.S. Fashion houses Prada and Dior say the micro swimsuits are a natural progression in men's swimwear since shorts are starting to get shorter. I'm Bree Tennis, NBC News Radio.
And that, you know what I've noticed? It might stay hot for the Casper Open this year. So what he's planning to wear on the course,
since shorts are starting to get shorter.
For Sports Talk 105.1, I'm Morgan McCarthy.
A cooler start this morning with 40s and 50s on tap, and we'll have more sunshine later this morning and into the afternoon with a few passing clouds later on as highs climb to the low 80s. Later on tonight, variable clouds give way to lows in the upper 50s. Tomorrow brings chances at a few showers and storms. Temperatures climbing to the mid-80s. A lingering shower is possible on Thursday with highs in the mid to upper 70s. I'm Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike D'Andrea.
It's time for some farm news on Sports Talk 105.1. Today is the start of Wisconsin Farm Technology Days 2023. This year's event will be held by Baraboo at the Badger Steam and Gas Engine Club grounds. Opening ceremonies start at 9:30 this morning. The 3-day event features over 500 exhibitors, food trucks, youth activities, and 6 different off-site farm tours. Show hours are 9 to 4 each day. U.S. meat exporters connect with prospective customers at the Latin American Product Showcase in Colombia. U.S. companies had the opportunity to connect with 220 beef importers from Central and South America and the Caribbean. Importers had the opportunity to meet with many suppliers of U.S. beef and pork in a single location to see the selection of high-quality products available to them. The Latin American Product Showcase was made possible through support from the USDA Market Access Program and the Beef Checkoff Program. Russia has stopped the Black Sea trade deal. The year-old agreement that allowed Ukrainian grain, 32.7 million metric tons, with corn making up half that total, to be shipped out of Black Sea ports was not extended by Russia on Monday. Russia made the announcement following an attack on a key bridge in Crimea, a bridge that is considered a major route for Russian supplies and troops moving into Ukraine. And as a result of Russia's pullout of the agreement, commodity prices immediately went up. Russia will most likely face serious diplomatic costs for stopping the grain deal because it will look like they're turning their back on feeding the countries of the global south with the food that they so desperately need at reasonable prices. And that's a look at our farm news on Sports Talk 105.1. I'm Jill Welke.
Mark your calendars, car lovers. It's time for the 3rd annual ASAP Used Auto Parts Car Show. The ASAP Used Auto Parts Car Show will be held on Wednesday, July 19th from 5 p.m. until 8 p.m. at the ASAP Used Auto Parts location at 1330 Menominee Street in Eau Claire. Whether you want to bring your vehicle to show off or you just want to check out the impressive lineup yourself, you won't want to miss out on this epic car show. So we will see you July 19th for the 3rd annual ASAP Used Auto Parts Car Show.
If you speed, there are lots of sounds that you might hear, like the sound of your vehicle crashing, because eventually speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Crank it up.
Hey! Are you ready today? Get up! Yeah! He's on his way! He's our man! The man, the myth, the legend! That's Dan!
And now,
The Dan Kasper Show.
Second hour kicking off on this Tuesday morning of July 18th. Appreciate y'all tuning in, however, wherever you may be tuning in from. Coming up, we'll get back to some more Brewers and Packers training camp chats. Next hour, about an hour from now, we'll catch up with the Eau Claire Express. General Manager Sammy will be stopping by for our Eau Claire Express segment. So we'll check in with her after that. We'll catch up with RJ Cardinal, Badger analyst from the Zone in Madison. We'll catch up on all things Badgers with him. So we got that coming up. We're going to get you some sports nuggets of the day. But before that, your pop quiz trivia question.
It's time. Think you know the answer? Then get ready to text, tweet, or Facebook your answer to Dan.
So since we just got done talking a little green and gold, I'm going to kind of throw maybe a little wild card game at you, or a question at you. Which Packers receiver, I know we were talking about defensive line, but which Packers receiver had the most 100-yard receiving games in a single season? Don't look it up. Try not, give me your best guess. Give me your best educated guess on this thing, all right? But which Packer receiver had the most 100-yard receiving games in a single season? Not a career, but in a single season. Okay? Think about that for a little bit and hit me up with the text with your answers. 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line. Okay? So, all right, let's do some sports nuggets of the day. Brought to you by Ansay Associates. Not a ton of them here. 1927, Ty Cobb set a Major League Baseball record by getting his 4,000th career hit. He hit 4,191 before he retired in 1928. We've got 1964, Pete Rose of the Cincinnati Reds hit the only Grand Slam run of his career. We got 1985, Jack Nicklaus, the second, at the age of 23 years old, made his playing debut on the Pro Golf Tour at the Quad Cities Open in Coal Valley, Illinois. Not a whole lot, but those are just some of your sports nuggets of the day. Again, brought to you by Ansay Associates. So we'll get your answer to the trivia question coming up at the beginning of the next segment here to give you. I know we got quite a few texts already coming in here with the answers and such, but if you got a name to put on there too, put your name on there in case anybody gets it right, so I can give you the proper shout out over there. So keep your thoughts coming on the Brewers. We were talking a little bit about the Brewers in the first hour. They begin their series against the Philadelphia Phillies on the road tonight. Julio Teheran's going to get the start for the Brew Crew. Wade Miley was supposed to get the start tomorrow, but Brewers putting him on the 15-day injured list due to what the team is calling elbow irritation, all that discomfort, elbow discomfort on there. So with that being said, and Brandon Woodruff is supposed to be coming back here, hopefully pretty soon and such. But with that, do you think that the Brewers should maybe look to add another starting pitcher before the trade deadline, knowing now that Wade Miley is back on the injury list? We're hoping it's a short stint, but knowing his history, right? We know his history. He's been a guy who's been banged up throughout his career. He's already missed 4 weeks this season for the Crew. He's having a good season, but he's already missed 4 weeks. How important would you put adding a starting pitcher, maybe as more of an insurance policy, just in case, one of those starters does get hurt? But how important would it be for you, in your opinion, that the Brewers have to add another starting pitcher before the trade deadline. Few of you out there saying that you'd be good if the Brewers started or if the Brewers acquired a starting pitcher. A lot of you saying it's not the biggest need, even with the Wade Miley injury, but you wouldn't be upset if they acquired another starting pitcher at the deadline. A lot of you still saying it's got to be that middle of the order bat. You know, I know yesterday we were talking quite a bit about a corner infielder, whether it's a first baseman or a third baseman. And I would say don't necessarily forget about right field. Don't overlook that bat maybe coming from a right fielder, because the Brewers and their right field offensive production have been poo-poo this year. Absolutely just awful, towards the bottom, at the bottom of the entire league, of not just the National League, all of Major League Baseball. They need better offensive production from a few spots on there, but don't overlook it's got to come from right field too. And they've had different guys kind of coming in and playing right field, whether it's, you know, Brian Anderson's been out there, Tyrone Taylor, Joey Weimer, when mostly now center field and such, but they've had a boatload of guys coming in and out. And maybe, I don't know if Sal Frelick could be a guy that eventually gets promoted and up to the active roster. Maybe. You know, if they don't acquire a right fielder before the trade deadline, is Sal Frelick a guy that could come in that if they promote him and maybe they give him a shot out there, maybe they want to go with more of a proven major leaguer at this point in time, especially making a playoff push? I don't know, but if the Brewers do acquire somebody at the deadline or players at the deadline, I'm not going, if it's a corner infielder, totally get why. If it's a right fielder, totally get why. They got a couple positions of need. I don't think it's just one. I don't even think it's just two. I think they got to get a couple of guys out there. Whether they actually cover all their holes, I kind of doubt that at this point. And right now it's pretty quiet on the rumor mill. I mean, you've got blogs and you've got articles that are posted all over the place. You know, this is a perfect trade candidate for this player, for this team. But there really hasn't been a whole lot of movement right now. And I think a lot of it is because, well, one, you got a couple weeks left here, but you still got some teams that are in it, that are in that hunt. You know, teams that maybe are just on the outside looking into a playoff spot, and they don't want to sell right now. I mean, we were talking a little bit about, like Boston being that example. You know, right now, Boston, just 1.5 back from a wild card spot. 1.5 back. A lot of those articles and blog posts out there have them, maybe moving some guys, but they're in that competitive AL East division. But yet they're just 1.5 back from a wild card spot. I mean, it's going to be tough to crack it, but do you necessarily want to start selling your pieces now? No, you don't. The Yankees are 2.5 back. Are they going to be sellers? I don't think anybody's really expecting the Yankees to be sellers, even though they're 2.5 back. Seattle's 4.5 back. I mean, the Angels are 5.5 back from a wild card spot, and I think everybody's just assuming that they're going to be sellers at this point. And then you look at the National League, maybe a little bit different here, because you got Philly, who's a half game out of a wild card. Cincinnati's just 2 back, but they're, also just a couple back from first place in their division. Then you got that huge gap with the Padres, 8 back from a wild card spot. Cubs, 8.5 back. Mets, 8.5 back. You're kind of looking at the teams down below there, and that's why you hear Washington and Colorado as 2 teams that are probably going to be selling some players. I know some people have kind of speculated about the Cardinals, would they sell players, but would they do that for the Brewers? I doubt it. I kind of doubt it at this point. And even, Miami. Miami's still in a wild card spot, but they're struggling as of late. They've lost their last 4. They're still holding on. Arizona. You got 2 teams in this playoff chase in the National League that, quote, weren't supposed to be there, that, all the experts expected them not to be there. They've had fantastic first halves, and they've got some players that I think a lot of teams would love to acquire before the deadline. But they're in it right now. But if they continue to kind of maybe fall here in the next week or two, then maybe there's more teams available or more players available. But right now, I think it's just you got some slim pickings and not a lot of guys are available at this point in time. So you're not hearing a whole lot of rumors. You're not seeing a whole lot of movement at this point in time. All right. So in case you missed the pop quiz, Tuesday pop quiz trivia question, which Packers receiver had the most 100-yard receiving games in a single season? Packers have had quite a few. I should say a rich history of wide receivers throughout their tenure. If you want to go way back to Don Hudson, you got James Lofton, you got Sterling Sharp, you got Jordy Nelson. Antonio Freeman. You want to go throw some of those names out there. So they've got quite the class. But who is the Packers receiver that has the most 100-yard receiving games in a single season? Don't look it up. Have some fun with it. Give me your best guess, okay? Text those on over, 715-830-1912. We got answers all across the board here, too. We'll get back to some more Packers training camp position preview series chat as well. We hit up the defensive line here this morning. Yesterday we talked about the quarterbacks, but we hit up the defensive line last hour. And, Kenny Clark, it's Kenny Clark and then maybe some question marks. Devontae Wyatt heading into his second year. A lot of expectation, a lot of thought, a lot of, thinking that he's got to be a guy that's going to have to step up big time this year. Didn't get a whole lot of playing time last year as a rookie, even though he was a first rounder. But the expectation is he's probably going to be a starter this year. Do we have a good gauge of what he can bring to the table yet? We saw a couple glimpses last year, but I think it's still a little bit unknown. Then you got TJ Slayton kind of slotted in as that typical nose tackle. I think the biggest thing that Packers fans want to see is an improvement in the run game, stopping the run, forcing, third and long situations, not letting teams like 49ers historically just running the ball every single time against them, improving the run defense, and then just getting Kenny Clark some help, which I feel like we've been talking about the last couple of years. Get Kenny Clark some dang help. Don't let teams consistently double team him all the time. You get Kenny Clark some help, and you got Devontae Wyatt and some of these other guys, maybe doing their jobs and doing it well. Maybe you can get a little creative with Kenny Clark and you can move him around the defensive line. Maybe you can put him in situations where, hey, he's going to go after the quarterback in this one. No, we're going to keep him to stop the run here a little bit. But they got to have an improved defensive line play this year, a consistent defensive line play this year. And it starts with stopping the run. They've got to stop the run. I highlighted two rookies that I'm kind of curious to see how they're going to do in training camp and preseason, kind of our first glimpses of them. Carl Brooks being one of them, Colby Wooden the other one. He's kind of more of maybe a tweener where he's going to be more on the edge. But could he be a guy that in certain situations, because of his size and his athletic traits, he's that guy that's blitzing up the middle? He's 6'4", 275, 280. So let's take a quick break. And coming up, we'll talk some more green and gold. Get you that answer to your trivia question in just a few minutes.
You're listening to the Dan Kasper Show.
The reviews are in. It's the best thing I have ever tasted in my life. This is the best thing that's happened in my life, even better than my wedding. That's what everyone has to say about Man Cave Light, the official beer of the Dan Kasper Show and the Man Cave Podcast. Try it for yourself, and you will know exactly why people say it's like sipping a little bit of heaven. Man Cave Light is available on tap at the bar in Hy-Vee. You can also grab a crawler or 6 and take some Man Cave Light home with you. So go try your new favorite beer, Man Cave Light, today, and you will know exactly why one reviewer said, I cry tears of joy every time I have one. Hunters, are you looking for a brand new firearm to take with you to the woods? Or maybe you want to save a little money and are looking at getting a high quality used firearm? Whatever the case may be, if you're looking for a rifle for, say, deer hunting or shotgun for your turkey hunting adventures, look no further than Tilden Gun. Tilden Gun features a wide selection of new and used firearms. And if you're looking for a particular firearm, Tilden Gun will help you find that firearm for you. And plus, they have a wall of handguns for you to check out as well. And you know you're going to need some ammo, targets, cases, scopes, and other accessories too. Well, Tilden Gun has all the accessories you need to properly outfit your firearm to hit the woods. Tilden Gun has the biggest selection, all at the best prices in the Chippewa Valley. So here's what you do. You could visit tildengun.com to see what all Tilden Gun has to offer. And you can stop by Tilden Gun and check out their amazing shop and see what they all have in store. Visit Tilden Gun today at 12427 98th Avenue, Chippewa Falls.
The brands you trust, prices you'll like.
When Wisconsin summers are hot, you need refrigeration that'll keep you cool. It's grilling, chilling, and spilling season, and Amundsen's Appliance has got you covered. Bottom mount Medea refrigerators starting at just $6.99. LG French doors with ice and water are the best price around at $18.99. Amundsen's in Eau Claire, Chippewa Falls, Rice Lake, and Hayward, or shop us online at Amundsen'sAppliance.com.
Then the best place to buy is Amundsen.
We'll make your building tough as a Northland with quality materials and custom-made plans. Northland Buildings.
Farmers across the Midwest count on Northland Buildings to keep their equipment and livestock safe. Whether it's a machine shed, workshop, barn, or other farm building, a Northland building can be custom built to your size and needs. Northland buildings are built tough to withstand our Midwest weather. They're economical, long-lasting, and virtually maintenance-free. Northland's experienced sales reps help you with your project from start to finish. Get affordable protection for your livestock and equipment and find out why farmers prefer Northland Buildings. Call 800-736-4510 or go to northlandbuildings.com. Their business is buildings, and they're here to help you with a quality building at a fair price. Built tough for the Northland.
Northland Buildings.
What's the special today?
Well, I've got half-price geofencing with a side of SEO, double bubble on all PPC, and 50% off all OTT CTV contracts.
Sound familiar when you were looking for marketing options? Are vendors selling you their tactics rather than your solutions? Then let the marketing mixologists at Midwest Family Eau Claire come to the rescue. Midwest Family Eau Claire isn't about hitting their sales quotas. They're about helping you hit yours. Go to MidwestFamilyEauClaire.com today and find out how their integrated marketing solutions make just the right marketing cocktail for you. MidwestFamilyEauClaire.com.
All aboard! The Eau Claire Express are back. They're taking the field once again this summer, and you can support Eau Claire Express baseball at historic Carson Park all summer long. General admission tickets and grandstand tickets are available, and you can check out the rest of the 2023 Express schedule at eauclairexpress.com or on their Facebook page. Enjoy summer baseball with the Eau Claire Express.
Thanks for listening. And thanks for checking out our live stream on YouTube and Facebook. And thanks for not mentioning that spot on Dan's shirt.
Barbecue stain on my white t-shirt.
I guess that's why he never wears white.
You can't handle the truth.
The Dan Kasper Show.
Carpet City Flooring Center has done it again, people. Some of the stuff they do, some of the magic that they're able to do is pretty darn impressive. Quick backstory. We had a couple of bedrooms that needed some new carpet pretty badly. So we went to our good friends from Carpet City Flooring Center here in Eau Claire. They helped us pick that awesome looking and feeling carpet. And a couple weeks later, installed that new carpet in our rooms. Now the bedrooms in our house look and feel completely different, and in a good way. The instant you walk into these rooms, you are in a better mood. My 6-year-old is even spending some more time in his bedroom because of the carpet. He's telling everybody he's got a brand new room now. So if you're in the need of a new floor for your home or office, why would you look anywhere else besides Carpet City Flooring Center here in Eau Claire? Trick question, you shouldn't be. Check them out for yourself today. Carpet City Flooring Center right here in Eau Claire. We got something pretty big planned with our good friends from Carpet City Flooring Center too. Maybe you saw the teaser trailer video up on our socials, on our Facebook, both Carpet City and mine and that. But if you haven't, go check it out. All right. You ready for your answer for this question? Who is the Packers player, Packers receiver that has had the most 100-yard receiving games in a single season? Drum roll. Robert Brooks is the answer. A lot of people went Jordy Nelson. Few went Sterling Sharp. It's actually Robert Brooks. The 1995 season, Robert Brooks had, count them, 9 games where he had over 100 yards in the game. Week 2 against Chicago, he put up 161. Week 5 against Dallas, he had 124. Week 8 against Detroit, 127. Following week against Minnesota, 120. Against Chicago again, 138. 114 in week 12 against Tampa Bay. Then in week 14, finished off the season 3 straight weeks with over 100 yards receiving. Week 14 against Tampa Bay, he had 122, 118, and he had 137 in that final game against Pittsburgh. Remember that final game against Pittsburgh? I remember watching it. That was the Christmas Eve one when the Packers clinched the playoff spot. Was it Thigpen that dropped the catch or dropped the touchdown pass at the back of the end zone there? Remember, I was at I think it was a Christmas party. Yeah, I was at a Christmas party and everybody was watching it. And I was only 9-10 years old at that point. So the significance of that game, getting in, Favre taking the final snap and running into the locker room, which is now the visitors' locker room, entrance and exit over there. So, but yeah, maybe kind of a little bit of a trick question. It was Robert Brooks. Robert Brooks with the most 100-yard receiving games in Packers history, and it came in that 1995 season. So nice trivia question to maybe go ask your fellow Packers fans out there. But I'll tell you, because it was I actually got the question from Packers.com when I was perusing around their depth charts up there, and they had Packers trivia. So I mean, I kind of stole this one from Packers.com, so you can give them the credit. But they had their options on there was Sharp, Brooks, Devontae, and Jordy, and I even got it wrong. Okay, I even got it wrong. So it's Robert Brooks, 1995. Hey, quick reminder for you golfers, don't forget to sign up your 2-person team for the Casper Classic coming up in under 3 weeks. It'll be 2 weeks from this Friday. Get your 2-person team signed up by visiting sportstalk1051.com. 2-person team, just $90. Each team comes with a cart, 9 holes of golf. You've got 6 free drink tickets, so that's 3 per person over there, plus the lunch provided by our good friends from Hy-Vee. I was just talking with Hy-Vee yesterday about some lunch plans, so they're getting ready for it over there. So big thanks to Princeton Valley for letting us have the outing over there. Big thanks to our other sponsors as well. Hy-Vee, as we just mentioned, being our lunch sponsors. Carpet City Flooring Center. Dodge is also listed up there. We got Service Master of Chippewa Valley. Big thanks to Clay and his team. Again, they've been a sponsor every year for the Casper Classic. So big thanks to Clay for jumping on board again this year. Ray's Place, Dave over at Ray's Place, big thanks. And again, thanks for the hot beefs the other day. Ray definitely made an impact on the day. Economy Furniture, Dave over there. Toyson Ford, Mr. Craig Toyson, also owner of the Eau Claire Express. We got Park Ridge Distributing, Edward Jones Financial Advisor, Kelsey Nikolai, our good friends from Myron Construction, Sandbar and Grill, Pro Valley Auto Glass, and Shepke Chiropractic. And thanks to Spectrum Industries too for their donation again this year of a gaming chair, and various other donations for the raffles, including from the Packers, from the Brewers, and G-Man's donations for the jerseys he picked up from Shields over there too. So time's running out. Get your 2-person team in right now by visiting sportstalk1051.com. Still got a couple spots open for the 10 a.m. tee time and a couple spots open for the 1 p.m. tee time. I know a couple of teams just signed up yesterday, so we're filling up pretty quick. So get those teams in before it is too late. We'll continue a little green and gold chat here. Joe, good morning, sir.
Good morning. 1995, when you were talking about Robert Brooks, he's one of those guys for me. He's up there with Nick Collins. He's up there with Jermichael Finley. If the injuries hadn't derailed, because he had a bad ACL injury, and he really was never the same. But that 95 season, he was explosive. He was absolutely explosive. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was he not a South Carolina guy coming from?
Was he South Carolina or who was let me bring it up here.
All right.
Yes, South Carolina.
South Carolina. So, and you talked about that Yancey Thigpen game. I was working in Madison. I was doing sports talk in Madison at the time. And we were at Coach's Sports Bar and Grill.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the place exploded when Yancey Thigpen dropped that. I mean, it was just I think it was that next step that team needed to take as they were growing and learning how to win and that type of thing. So great trivia question today. And again, when you said Robert Brooks, I'm like, man, that brought back memories.
Would you have gotten it right, Robert Brooks?
No.
Yeah.
Without cheating.
Yeah.
No. You forget how explosive he was. I think it was that same year, that 95 year, the Packers played the Eagles on Monday Night Football. And I went to that game, and Brooks just had such an explosive game. And he was wiry, but he was strong. But again, that was just a gruesome ACL injury. That would have been one I would have said, I'm throwing in the white flag. There's no way I would have gotten that one.
Mm-hmm. Can you name the corner that was on Thigpen that just like put his arms up like, thank goodness?
I believe I know his number.
Yep.
I think it was 22.
Mm-hmm.
Lenny McGill.
All right, I'll look it up. I didn't.
Okay,
I knew it was 22.
It was 22, wasn't it?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
I remember. I mean, that scene is one of the
luckiest man in the world, right there.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
No doubt.
It was. Let me just see. Number 22. It was Lenny McGill.
There we go.
Yep, Lenny McGill, Arizona State's. So
yeah, there we go. So yeah, that's one of those scenes for me that I'll never forget.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like Andre Rison in that Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the Nick Collins interception and the Jordy Nelson touchdown against the Steelers. They're just certain moments. It's like Giannis's block, and it's also Giroux's steal from 2 years ago. So yeah, there's certain things. I remember the 82 Brewers, the ground ball to Yount against the Angels. And Uke was on the call, of course, and it was the ground ball to Yount through to Coop for that final out to get the Brewers into the World Series. So yeah, we could, for the next 3 hours, we're going to talk about these types of memories, Captain.
Right? No kidding, man. I was watching the clips on there, and everybody's hugging Lenny McGill. I'm like, dude didn't do anything.
He did absolutely nothing.
Sean Jones walks off the field with his arm around Neil O'Donnell.
That would be the one. I'd be consoling Neil O'Donnell and Yancey Thigpen rather than celebrating Lenny McGill at the time.
Right, exactly. So training camp opens next Wednesday. Some teams are opening up. The Jets open up fully tomorrow. Rookies are reporting for some teams today. But Packers will open up next Wednesday. I believe their rookies and quarterbacks will come report on the 20th. I believe it's on Thursday.
This week.
This week.
Yep.
So, but officially camp opens next Wednesday. We were talking about defensive linemen. We're kind of doing a position preview series leading up to it. And it's like Kenny Clark and then kind of an unknown after that. Devontae Wyatt, heading into his second year. But there's two guys I'm intrigued with, and they're both the rookies.
Yep.
Colby Wooden and Carl Brooks.
Yeah, no doubt.
What do you make of this defensive line right now?
It's a big question mark. Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think you have potential. You didn't draft Devontae Wyatt in the first round for him not to play. Mm-hmm. And last year, of course, Jerron Reed and Dean Lowry taking those snaps. And I would have liked to have seen Devontae Wyatt play more last year, but I agree with you. I think the upside is there. And it's going to be interesting who that starting three is. And again, you can't put a lot into your base defense as far as who's starting. But I think it's going to be Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt, and someone else. And I think that third spot is up for grabs. Now, later on in the year last year, I think you started seeing some explosiveness from Devontae Wyatt. And for whatever the reason, I think defensive lineman is one of those really tough positions to draft. And I look over the years and you get these guys that were just animals and man among boys in college. And they're really not technique driven. All right. They're very much just athletic freaks.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they get to the pros, though, that's that next step. So going back to the Packer defensive line, there's just some huge question marks. Now, again, and I tweeted it out this morning when we're talking about who's critical to success of the Green Bay Packers this year. We're at number 2.
Mm-hmm.
And number 2, because he's the conductor of this orchestra that needs to bring all of this talent and all of this potential and make it into production. And so it's going to be interesting to see. And boy, it'd be really nice to have a defensive lineman really step up and take that pressure off of Kenny Clark. But again, it's kind of like the wide receiver position. There's a lot of upside and a lot of reasons to be optimistic. There's a lot of question marks as well. So and I think Kenny Clark, I think when he's on and healthy, I think he truly is one of the, I would say, arguably top 10 interior defensive linemen in the NFL when he's truly healthy and on his game. And so I think the potential is there, but I think, again, the question marks are going to come into play. And, it's interesting, Captain, because you and I think a couple of weeks ago talked about the play callers, the podcast that's out now that is tremendous. And I've been listening to it while I've been driving and moving forward. And it talks about the flexibility, and it talks about the hybrid type of player. And I think Green Bay has some options on that defense now to bring in a hybrid kind of player. You saw Rashawn Gary, I think his first couple of years, put his hand in the dirt and play a little bit of that interior rush. And I think you might see Lucas Van Ness do that same thing this year. And so I think Green Bay needs to have those type of guys to make this defense work. But is the upside there? 100%. But it's up to Joe Barry to bring that upside into true vision and make it into production.
If this defense starts off slow again this year, and it's just not going well, is there a move made at the middle part of this season at some point in this season? Is there somebody on the staff that you would like to see get a shot at? Maybe
it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, if I was Matt LaFleur, and again, we've talked about this too, that the fact that he's the play caller, it pulls his eyes and his head away from the totality of the team. I personally, and I know Rich Bisaccia is essentially the assistant head coach. He's been promoted to that. But I would have brought in one of those defensive consultants that a lot of teams are going to right now. And so the question mark is, if you want to make a move, who do you go to? Because you don't have that
Jerry Gray's not there.
He's not there anymore. You don't have that fail safe. And if you're making a move during the year, you're not going to go out and get a guy to bring in from outside of the building. And so I think, and this goes back to it, Matt LaFleur, his decision, right, wrong, or indifferent, and I get it. Towards the end of last season, Green Bay's defense was playing better because Joe Barry adapted. I mean, you look at that first Minnesota game versus that second Minnesota game, it was night and day. And so the pressure is going to be on him. And so the question is, if I'm Matt LaFleur, who do I turn to then? Because you don't have that fail-safe. So I don't see Joe Barry getting fired midseason because of that reason. There's just nobody on the staff that you could say, yeah, that's the guy. Could it be Olive Dottie? I mean, maybe, but I don't see him as being that guy. And so, yeah, I think, and look, it's you and I have talked about it. The national press has talked about it. The talent on this team, at least perceived talent. If Brian Gutekunst has done his job with all of his scouts, you look at the first round picks on this team now on the defensive side of the ball. And if Joe Barry can adapt to that talent, and let's talk about the cornerback position specifically. You mentioned Jerry Gray. One of the reasons Jerry Gray's not there anymore, truthfully, is because he didn't agree with Joe Barry. I mean, that was well known that he didn't agree with some of the philosophies of the defense as far as core philosophies go. And so you got Jair Alexander, and you look at the PFF grades with him on man press coverage versus zone. And it's night and day different. Same thing with Eric Stokes. And same thing, Rasul Douglas, even as far as zone versus man. Now, I still think Douglas's better position is that safety position, but that remains to be seen. If you can't get the type of talent, the type of production out of that talent, then you got to go. But again, I don't see Matt LaFleur making that move midseason.
Mm-hmm. Yesterday, we kicked it off talking some quarterbacks and such, and we posed the question, would you like to see Green Bay have a veteran backup to Jordan Love? And it was 50-50. And my thoughts on it were, and I guess I posed it in this, does Jordan Love need a veteran backup to mentor? And I said, I don't think he needs one because he's been there for a few years in his system. He has Tom Clements. It's similar to Rodgers in 08. His backup was Matt Flynn.
Yep.
If he was a rookie, then yes, I would say you probably have a veteran backup like a Teddy Bridgewater who's available to kind of mentor him. Do you think it's important to have a veteran right now?
I agree with you with your take. Jordan Love's not a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in this offense a while now. So I agree with you. The similarities at so many different levels with Aaron Rodgers are just crazy.
The one caveat I would say is if you believe you do have a winning football team and Jordan Love misses time, then I want a veteran.
Oh, no doubt.
That
Look,
sort of
here's
thing.
the thing. You mentioned the name. I wouldn't go out to get a veteran,
Mm-hmm.
but I will say this. A guy like Teddy Bridgewater, who Rick Spielman, the former GM of the Minnesota Vikings, talked about the fact that he thinks he'd be the ideal backup to Jordan Love. This is a guy who knows football. This is a guy who's been through the peaks and valleys of the NFL, because I think that's really where this comes into play is not just game situations, but when you look at the global perspective of the peaks and valleys that a quarterback goes through. So would I go out and get a veteran quarterback just to have a veteran quarterback on the team? Absolutely not. Would I go out and get Teddy Bridgewater? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I just think he's that type of guy that has been through so much adversity in the NFL. And Jordan Love is going to have his valleys. There's going to be peaks, but he's going to have those valleys. And I think talking a quarterback through that and being there and having those extra eyes, so to speak, I think that's very important. So any veteran quarterback, no.
Mm-hmm.
Teddy Bridgewater, yes.
I feel like Teddy Bridgewater is playing the smart business side. And if anybody's wondering why he hasn't signed anywhere, I feel like it's smart just to wait the first couple of weeks of training camp or preseason. An injury goes down, your price goes up.
Absolutely.
So I know there were some people asking yesterday, well, why isn't he signed then? Or what is there a reason he's not signed on a team yet? I think it's just smart business at this point in time.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's no need for Teddy Bridgewater to sign on to a contract right now. There's not. Supply and demand.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, there's some supply out there, not a lot of demand. Wait till the demand goes up, and then your price goes up at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, but going back to it, he's the one veteran, when you look at the list of names out there, that I would make a move on. No one else really excites me. And so it's kind of it's a meh group that doesn't really excite me outside of Bridgewater.
Mm-hmm. No, I would agree. That's the name that I mean, and I know there's a couple other guys out there that have a little bit of starting experience, but nothing like the resume of Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, I thought the Vikings had their quarterback, and
that knee injury really derailed it.
It was, and again, going back to it, I mean the what ifs that you can play with some of these players. Teddy Bridgewater, I thought the Vikings were well on their way. And again, look at the domino effect. What happens is the Vikings think they finally have their franchise quarterback. Of course, this was after drafting Christian Ponder, which was a huge, huge, huge flop for them.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go out and they get Kirk Cousins after the Teddy Bridgewater injury. So it's interesting how you look at that domino effect. But yeah, I need a backup. No. Like Teddy Bridgewater, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Joe DeGuano joining us here this morning as we're getting closer and closer to the start of training camp next Wednesday. Officially opens up for the green and gold. Do you have any last minute concerns, questions? What are you going to be paying attention to the most when camp opens up next week?
I'm really hoping a safety separates themselves in this training camp, because right now that's the one position that I really, really am nervous about. And it's the one position that could derail this whole defense. If Joe Barry, if the pressure's on him because he's got man press corners, okay, what you need then, because you're going to get burned. If you're taking the shot at press coverage, someone's going to get loose because they're going to get off the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
And you need that safety back there to mop up the mistakes. And so someone needs to step up, and someone needs to play better than they've ever played in the NFL for that safety position. Is it Moore? Is it Owens? Is it Rudy Ford? Is it Darnell Savage Jr.? Someone there needs to step up. And so that's really the one position going in that I'm most curious about and most interested about.
There is a safety that's still available, John Johnson, former of the Browns. Would you?
I think also Rams, right?
Rams, yep. Los Angeles over there too. So, I mean, is that somebody that's, if you haven't seen anything in the first couple of weeks or the safeties are struggling, you'd like to see Green Bay kind of fork over a little extra money to bring in?
100%. 100%. Now, the other thing that needs to happen financially for the Green Bay Packers is the Rashawn Gary extension. That needs to happen to open up some dollars for this year to go out and be able to get someone. Because right now, realistically, I know it looks good or better for the Green Bay Packers this year cap-wise. By the end of this thing, they're still going to be bumping up against the cap. So they need to get that Rashawn Gary extension done before I think they make any other moves. And so, yes, John Johnson, and I'm if I'm not mistaken, Captain, I believe John Johnson, when he was on the Rams, Joe Barry was over there.
Yes.
And so there's some familiarity there that you can take and use that to your advantage. Yes, 100%. Look, the two guys, if you're going to go out and get a veteran for this team, because right now the team is what it is. They're not going to make a big signing or a big trade right now. The team is what it is. The two guys, though, Bridgewater and John Johnson, would improve this team, I think, a lot.
Yeah, he's a true center fielder, which, like you said, I mean, if you're going to play that press man coverage, you want that true center fielder.
Yeah, you have to have him.
Yeah,
you have to have him. And so, it's again, I think there's so many question marks that if you can bring in and I look at John Johnson a little bit at when Adrian Amos was signed by from the Bears, you knew what you were getting. There wasn't a question mark because Adrian Amos, the 3 years before the Packers signed him, was one of the most consistent, highest graded safeties at PFF. And that was a safe free agent signing for Green Bay. Was it an explosive one? Did it make a lot of headlines? Was it splashy? No. But I tell you, Adrian Amos' first 3 years in Green Bay, he's one of the better defenders in the NFL at that safety position. So if you can go out and get a known quantity like John Johnson, Teddy Bridgewater, I think that improves this football team. And I think this team takes it from those two moves, could take this from a 9-win team to an 11-win team. And that's a big difference going into the playoffs. And it also 6 to 8. I mean, I think it's a two-win switch.
Before I let you go, the other thing with Jordan Love, how much do you play him in the preseason games?
A lot.
Yeah.
You have to. This is a guy that hasn't seen game action. When I say a lot, I don't mean the whole game. I mean, but he should be playing at least a half in each of the games. You have 3 preseason games. That's it. And you look at the number of snaps that you have. And now, do I show? Because I think this offense, I still think even with all the talk on the play callers that, maybe it wasn't as a hybrid as people think because of the how this thing is mutated and grown and evolved over the years as far as the McVay offense and the Shanahan offense. But I think you have to. I don't think you're going to open up the playbook, but Jordan Love needs to see playing time, and I think you play him first half and a quarter, something along those lines. I mean, I think he needs to see almost, I'll say it, four full quarters of football in this preseason out of those 3 games.
Speaking of the play callers, before I let you go, will this be a similar offense to when that whole squad was together in Washington with RG3?
I think you're going to see nuances. I don't think you're going to they really put, I think, RG3 at risk that year. And I don't think Jordan Love is the athlete that RG3 was, but I think you're going to see nuances. And if I wasn't mistaken, was that Alfred Morris who was the back? So Alfred Morris, nondescript draft choice, 5th or 6th round draft choice, comes out and has a great year. And that Washington club, all-time record for rushing. And I think you're going to see nuances of that Washington offense play out in Green Bay this year.
A lot of pistol formations and outside zone and all that.
It's going to be a lot more RPO than you saw with 12. And so real quick, I know next Tuesday will be my number 1. And if you followed it, it's kind of a no-brainer. And I'll even lead it off by, look, this season is going to either live or die by number 10.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this season will come down to. What do you have in number 10?
Mm-hmm. I kind of said it not to kind of fully give it away for next week either, too. But, I just want to see something that kind of like 08 with Rodgers.
100%.
I don't want to say I don't want to expect a Rodgers type of performance right away, MVP. Something that gives us like, okay, that he is a starter in this league, which I think we saw in 08. Like, I wasn't a Rodgers guy at the beginning. I'll be honest with you. I was not.
Look, I wasn't at draft day.
Mm-hmm.
The more I started hearing from coaches and insiders at 1265 what they had, the more I was a believer. Now, again, all the stuff you're hearing about Jordan Love now is all positive, but I go back to the draft. I was not impressed with him coming out. The biggest thing for me is going to be touchdown, interception, and completion. Well, completion percentage, touchdown, interceptions. And again, everyone's like, duh, Joe, those are kind of the basics. But this guy needs to be accurate, and he needs to not make mistakes, period.
Right. They were 1-7 in one-score games in that 08 season.
Yeah. I mean,
everybody just assumes like, oh, it was Rodgers' first year. He was 6-10. But you really think about it, how many times did they have those leads and then the defense just collapsed?
Absolutely. Yeah. And so, yeah, you got to see something that gives you that hope to say, yeah, we got something here.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we will see. But this season, take everything else out, it will either live. I'm going to go Al Pacino in any given Sunday. You will either live with number 10 or you will die with number 10.
Will we know if he's the future starter after just 1 year this year? Will we have that answer?
Well, we will have a better feeling. You're either going to say to yourself, this is what we saw this year, or you will say, we got to go draft another quarterback. So it's a lot of optimism, a lot of question marks. And again, a lot of guys need to be successful for this team to be successful.
I agree. All right, Joe. Appreciate it as always, sir.
You know what?
We're in studio now, aren't you?
Well, I'm living in Eau Claire now.
Yeah.
So this is a lot easier for me rather than driving up 3 hours to get here by 7:15.
Exactly. So maybe you can actually bring in bloodies this time.
I know.
All right, appreciate it, Joe. We got to take a quick break, and then coming up in just a few minutes, we'll catch up with the Eau Claire Express. GM Sammy will be joining us in studio. We'll chat with her with the Express. 5-9 in the second half, but don't forget, they've already clinched playoff spots. Regular season's already starting to wrap up for them.
Got a take on today's topics but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
Now at Menards, save big money on your next painting project with 11% off everything. Keep your home looking clean and beautiful with DuraClean Interior Paint and Primer from Dutch Boy. With a washable and stain-resistant finish, transforming your home has never been easier. Get a gallon of flat for $19.48 after rebate. Good through July 23rd. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Dr. Logan Shepke from Shepke Chiropractic is joining me right now. And Logan, it sounds like you just want to give a nice thank you, shout out to some of your patients.
I do.
Out there.
Yeah, it's been awesome. The support we've had, going through the different stages of acquiring the Altoona office, and then now with the new child here. So really thankful for all the referrals that I've been receiving from patients or other medical providers. And the support from my existing patients. You guys have been awesome. So shout out to you guys.
Awesome. That's great to hear. And, looking at the calendar here quickly too, we got football coming up with those youngsters with camp. So it might be a good time to maybe make some appointments and get adjusted before camp.
Absolutely.
And even during football season.
Absolutely. All ages. Yeah. Get in, get yourself straight, and then hit it hard.
Yeah, definitely. And be safe out there too. Right.
That's right.
Exactly. So again, big thank you to everybody who's stopped by to Shepke Chiropractic. And if you want to make an appointment, where do they go to?
ShepkeChiropractic.com.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Scott Pisak, owner of Colfax Chevrolet. We have a fantastic selection of vehicles in stock, and if you don't see what you're looking for, we will find it for you. We strive to provide an excellent customer experience, so stop in and see what makes Colfax Chevrolet different. Visit both of our lots in downtown Colfax, and for a buying experience completely online, visit colfaxchev.com. It's always a fantastic day at Colfax Chevrolet.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union, the local Wisconsin team that's always rooting for you. Every regular season Friday home game at American Family Field, ticketed fans 21 and over who sit in the Miller Lite beer pin in the left field loge bleachers will receive a free Brewers beer pin item, courtesy of Miller Lite. UW Credit Union, here for every you. Join today.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Do you know of anyone who needs some help chasing their dreams and passions? Backyard Dreams wants to help. Email us at info@sportstalk1051.com so we can help.
Only got about a minute left here. So coming up next hour, again, we'll catch up with Sammy, GM from the Express. The Express had an off day yesterday, but back on the road today for the next couple of games against Waterloo. Then they've got 4 games against Lacrosse, a little back and forth going on over there. So we'll catch up with them. And then at the bottom of the hour, we'll catch up with RJ Cardinal, Badger analyst from the Zone in Madison. Also, for some Legion baseball, 19U regional play begins just a couple hours from now at Carson Park. Eau Claire faces off with Lacrosse Post 52, Chippewa Falls Post 77 versus Superior after that. Then 2 more depending on the outcomes of the first game. So quite a bit of baseball action starting in just a couple hours from now from Carson Park for some Legion baseball there. We're 2 hours in. We got 1 more to go. We got a busy final hour. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
WAYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk 105.1 and 790 AM. From the 715 newsroom, it's Morgan McCarthy with your news on Sports Talk 105.1.
Well, good morning. Here's what we're learning today. More information now, and a woman whose death is under investigation in Eau Claire County has been identified as 77-year-old Diane Berthold. The Eau Claire County Sheriff's Office says right now her death, while considered suspicious, appears to be an isolated incident and poses no threat to the community. Deputies had responded to the home on McElroy Court in the town of Washington last Thursday night, where they found her body. Also, an 81-year-old man who is in need of medical care. More information on this update online, 715newsroom.com. Well, construction on the main parking lots in Eau Claire County Government Center has begun. So if you're headed downtown, just a heads up there, going to work on that probably through the end of the month. That work is focused on parking lots A and B of the Government Center and will result in the closing of Oxford Avenue between Grand Avenue and Lake Street during construction. So if that hiccups your travel or commute, just a little bit of an orange cone heads up. Well, we're downtown. We'll unpack those suitcases for a while and stay as travel writers are doing that. An estimated 300 travel bloggers in a conference in our area now known as the 2023 North North America, TBX. Eau Claire is in good company. The annual event has been held in Greece, New York City, and Spain, but Eau Claire was the top choice this year. So welcome to everybody in our area for that event. And if you happen to travel to walk the Midway, you weren't alone. 114,000 people attended the Northern Wisconsin State Fair, which did set a new record and generated millions for the local economy. Chamber of Commerce say the fair provides a big economic impact for the region every year. Well, student athletes would have to play on a team that aligns with their biological sex under a bill that GOP lawmakers in Madison have reintroduced. The first version of the bill, called the Save Women's Sports Act, failed to pass last year. A closer look at the political scene sees some Democratic lawmakers opposing the measure, saying it will only subject trans youth to more bullying and exclusion, but showing you different sides so you can decide. Republican State Representative Barbara Dittrich says the bill would prevent women's sports from being lost to biological males. And what if your sport is swimming? Can you do it in a Speedo?
It's true that fashion comes back around. The Speedo is making a return across the globe. Sales are up 200% in Europe, the Middle East, even Africa, up 54% right here in the U.S. Fashion houses Prada and Dior say the micro swimsuits are a natural progression in men's swimwear, since shorts are starting to get shorter. I'm Bree Tennis, NBC News Radio.
And that, you know what I've noticed? It might stay hot for the Casper Open this year. So what he's planning to wear on the course,
since shorts are starting to get shorter.
For Sports Talk 105.1, I'm Morgan McCarthy.
A cooler start this morning with 40s and 50s on tap, and we'll have more sunshine later this morning and into the afternoon with a few passing clouds later on as highs climb to the low 80s. Later on tonight, variable clouds give way to lows in the upper 50s. Tomorrow brings chances at a few showers and storms. Temperatures climbing to the mid-80s. A lingering shower is possible on Thursday with highs in the mid to upper 70s. I'm Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike D'Andrea.
Are you a veteran who needs assistance? Do you know a veteran who needs help? The Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs is here for Wisconsin veterans, their families, and their survivors. We can help connect veterans with services such as medical care, financial and legal assistance, housing, mental health services, substance use treatment, and more. For more information, please visit wisvets.com. That's WIS vets.com. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs.
Let me ask you something. Did you name your firstborn after a football player?
Hell yes.
Did you spend your honeymoon going to a football game?
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
Do you spend most of your free time hanging out in your man cave?
Yes! Yes! Yes!
If you answered yes to all the above, then you, my friend, are a serious sports fan just like Dan.
Yes!
This is exactly where you belong. Sports talking and BSing is what we do best.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
So rise and grind, people, because the Dan Kasper Show is on the air.
You serious, Clark?
Right now.
Showtime! Woo!
All right, third hour kicking off on this I was going to say Friday already. Tuesday morning. I'm already wishing it was Friday morning here. Tuesday morning, July 18th. Appreciate you all tuning in wherever, however you may be tuning in from, whether it's online or on the radio dials, video streams, apps, Google and Alexa home devices. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we'll catch up with RJ Cardinal, get the latest on the Badgers, college sports, and all that fun stuff. We'll get back to some Brewers chat, too. Brewers beginning their road series against the Philadelphia Phillies coming up tonight. But we begin this Tuesday, as we do every Tuesday, catching up with our good friends from the Eau Claire Express. And this morning, we've got General Manager Sammy in studio. Good morning, Sammy.
Good morning.
How are you? I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm good.
Yeah?
How was your birthday?
Low key, which is okay.
Good.
Yeah. I feel like you get older, they don't really matter that much anymore.
Yeah.
So, just a little. So, but it was good. We had ice cream, ice cream cake, and that. So, but it was good. So, you got an off day yesterday? You were telling me a little bit off the air. You had gave the staff the day off.
Yep. It's one of our interns' birthday today, Casey.
Oh.
And so he's like, I really want my birthday off. And I was like, so I pulled him aside Sunday after the game. I said, all right, do you want your birthday off or do you want Monday off? I said, because it's either going to be full day, off day, full day,
Mm-hmm.
or it could be off day, full day, full day. And he goes, I guess I want my birthday. I want Monday off. So I said, all right, we're having Monday off.
All right. Nice.
yeah.
So that was nice of you.
I can be nice sometimes.
Yeah. Looking ahead to the schedule. So you couple games against Waterloo, then you got like a lot of back and forth with lacrosse.
Yeah.
Coming up here. You got a home game Thursday against lacrosse, Friday lacrosse, Saturday or Friday on the road against lacrosse, Saturday back home against lacrosse, then on the road against lacrosse. So a lot of back and forth.
Starts a doozy.
Yeah. You got well, it's kind of weird because you got the All-Star, but it's a Great Lakes All-Star game.
So it's
the
an
next
off
Tuesday.
day.
So it's an off day. But then you're at Carson Park that whole time. Right there, right before your All-Star break.
Yeah.
So it's got to be nice so team doesn't have to travel and all that sort of stuff too much before the All-Star break. Sitting there at Carson Park. So the interns ready for that stretch, you think?
I think they're getting a little nervous.
Yeah.
It's gonna be. I told them it's gonna be a long stretch.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, do you know, so the Great Lakes All-Star game, and then you got like an actual All-Star break right there too. So, does Great Lakes only get like the 1 day off, and you guys get like 3 days off? Is that
Nope.
kinda...
So they have. So theirs is the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Okay.
but we just
have the off day on that
because
Tuesday.
they just want the All-Star game to be
The
the only
focus on
thing
there.
going
Gotcha.
on that day.
Do you know when for your All-Stars when they get announced? Is that
Hopefully the end of this week.
end of this week? Got a few good candidates up there, I would think, to hear their names getting announced for the All-Star game.
Yeah.
So, where is the All-Star game this year?
Bismarck.
Bismarck. Ooh, so we got to make a travel over there a
Mhm.
little bit. All right, I like it. So, I think the last time you and I chatted, it was right before you guys clinched, right there. So you got that in the bag. Yeah, you're going to the playoffs right away here. It's been a little. I mean, you started off the second half really hot, then a little up and down afterwards here. But it's got to be comforting knowing you still have that playoff spot clinched.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely been hard on the guys these last few weeks. It's mentally hard to lose a lot of those games, and especially our game with Bismarck on what was that on Thursday, 21-18. I mean, that's a lot on both teams,
Right.
Mentally. So these last few weeks have been really mentally exhausting, and so I talked with Dale, and he's been given a lot of the guys that we normally see in the field days off just because they're tired.
Right.
So we've got more arms coming in and more players coming in, and so hopefully we'll see an up these next few weeks. But
So
like you
it
said,
sounds like it's an ever revolving kind of roster a little bit with more arms still even coming in at this point, which is kind of nice to know that you're kind of getting retooled a little bit on there.
we
So
brought back Ethan Luthen from last year's season, and then Court McDonald from Stanford, who plays in the outfield. His brother, Caden McDonald, just joined our squad last week. So now we have brothers on the team again. It's like our third year in a row of having brothers. We had cousins earlier this season.
Nice.
So yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, definitely. So let's take a look at some of the promotions coming up here for you guys. You got ladies' nights coming up.
Yes.
The first home night on the 20th against lacrosse.
I'm excited. So we're doing a charcuterie class with Clearwater Charcuterie.
Okay.
So it's gonna be a pregame activity for their ladies to sign up for. I believe it's a $60 ticket, which includes the charcuterie class and your ticket to the game.
Okay.
I've done a class with Molly before, and it's so much fun. So there's still time for people to sign up if anyone's listening.
Perfect. Or even sign up your significant other too.
Exactly.
on
It's a
there
nice
too.
little surprise.
Yes. Make it a date night, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you got that, and then the 22nd Star Wars night
Mm-hmm.
coming up there. So what do you got planned for Star Wars night?
Well, I guess I have to be the bearer of bad news. Star Wars canceled on me.
Oh no, really?
The group that we were working with canceled.
Oh man. Well, that's a bummer. So
Yeah. So we'll just have some Star Wars music playing
all right,
and
well,
some
hey, okay, people can dress up in Star Wars
exactly.
stuff,
People
right?
can dress
Exactly.
up, and
Yeah.
it'll probably be dress up and get in for free kind of thing like we
Okay.
normally do.
Right.
Just no characters.
Okay. Well, hey, you can dress up and people can be their own characters.
Exactly.
Coming in. Exactly. Yeah. And then a couple days after that is the Princess and Superhero Night, which always seems to be a very popular one.
It is always very popular,
Mhm.
and I do have word that the princesses will be back again this
All right.
year.
Nice.
And superheroes. And it's our second to last retro night.
That is exactly right, because that's I-94's night.
There is a little birdie floating around that we might be wearing retro jerseys for playoffs.
Ooh. Will the players like that?
Players
I think they would, right?
Those are their favorite jerseys.
Perfect. Got to go with what's working, right? I mean, you've won almost, has it been every game that you wore those retros?
I'm not going to say it
Not gonna
out
lie,
loud.
I know. You don't say it, I'll say it, though.
Mhm.
We'll keep it that way.
Yeah.
So, all right, good to know. And then we'll catch up on the other stuff because we'll be back next Tuesday to look at that. But big ones are ladies' night, and then you got the other night, the 22nd, dress up as a Star Wars character, and then your princess and superhero night coming up on the 24th, which is Monday night. A week,
less than a week
less than a
away.
week away over there.
Yeah.
So,
Our All-Star game's 2 weeks away.
Mhm.
This season's flying by, I'm telling you.
right. Can we? So last time, I don't know. I'm going to see if I could talk in code, see if we can announce this one. But because it was a couple weeks ago that you let me know that you did get a group to come.
Oh, yes.
Can we mention that on here? Okay.
Mhm.
I'll let you.
Yes.
I know I didn't want to make any jump the gun or anything like that, but
Yes. So we have for, I don't know, I don't want to get booed at, but for Minnesota fans that might know them a little bit better, 10K Takes, they are they're on Twitter and Instagram. They are more of a blogger sense of information for sports.
Yep.
They're going to be coming out to a game on August 5th.
August 5th. Okay.
Yep. It's going to be fun. They're going to partake in the 999 challenge.
Nice.
Do you know what that is?
I've heard of it.
9 hot dogs,
Okay.
9 beers,
Yep.
and 9 innings.
I've heard of other variations of that, so that's a little bit more safer for some of the stuff I've heard. So that's why I wasn't sure where you were getting at with the 999. But okay, so they're going to do that.
Yep.
That should be a lot of fun.
Yep. And then they're going to do some on-field games and just come out and have a great time. I'm excited. They're a great group of guys. Casey and I, we chatted with them a few weeks ago, and they're really excited to come out to Eau Claire, and we're excited to have them. And
Well,
it'll
that's
be
even better
fun.
because that's the other retro night.
It's the last retro night.
The last retro night is on August 5th, too.
It's gonna be a big night.
Yeah, absolutely. So is that the
And fireworks.
And yeah, exactly. How about that? So, because we did have somebody ask a little bit earlier, when do those jerseys get auctioned off?
So they will go on auction that July 5th game.
Or August 5th game?
Yes, August 5th.
I-
It's still early, no
Right.
caffeine. Yes, so they will still go up for the auction in game on August 5th. We just will not give them out until at the end of the season.
Right.
So we'll kind of have on there on the when we get payments from people.
Yep.
We'll ask, do you want a signature on this from your player that you've selected the jersey from?
Right.
So that way we can get them signed if you want, but just because we are going to wear them in playoffs, and playoffs can go either way.
Exactly.
So
Little
if you're-
TBD to when you get
yeah,
them a
if
little
you're
bit.
at the playoff game and you can pick it up then, great. So we're gonna figure it out as it goes, but
But you got to be at the game the 5th.
Yep.
To bid on it.
yes, you have
essentially.
to be there in person, and we will have all 40. There's it goes all the way up to 40 something jerseys. So I
Right.
think we've got little over 36, 37 jerseys. So
Gotcha.
there's plenty of jerseys to go
Oh, yeah.
around.
Does Varsho's coach's jacket go on auction too or something like
I
that?
don't know if anyone wants that. I don't know if he's watched it.
Oh, Dale, come on, man. Gotta put that in the washer. Smell a little bit better over there, dude. Sammy just called you out a little bit. I like it.
Sorry.
So-
Hey, he gave me a raccoon tail the other day. I don't know if it's a raccoon tail. So we were playing wiffle ball with the interns pregame on Friday. and I get done pitching because of course I needed to pitch.
Right.
I did a very good job. My team won, by the way. And he grabs my wrist, flips my hand over, and puts this raccoon fur in my hand, and just giggles and walks away.
No story behind it or nothing?
Nothing.
Just puts it in your hand and walks away.
He waited like 3 minutes over there to give it to me.
Okay.
So if anyone's listening and you come to the next home game, go into the apparel store, and when you're walking out, look up. You'll see it. I taped it up there for good luck.
Wow. Okay. So it's like a horseshoe kind of sort of thing,
Yeah,
taping it up there.
good luck
All
now.
right. Okay. I
Yeah.
want to know the backstory, Dale, if you're listening. Where
you found this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of just held my hand out like, oh, I don't really want this.
I mean,
but
raccoon tail's like that, isn't
It's
it?
not a tail. It's just the fur.
Oh, it's just the fur?
It's just like a chunk of fur. It's like this big.
That's even more weird.
Yeah.
I don't
It's still got the follicles and everything. That's how I changed it.
Wow. All right. That's we need the backstory on
Yeah.
that, Dale. So that might be a deep dive into a podcast investigation episode
on his next episode.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I totally agree
Mhm.
on that one.
Because
So
I'm pretty sure he's the 25th.
okay. So next week.
He's next week.
All right. We're gonna do a deep dive into that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna make a note. Fur.
Fur. You're gonna be like,
From
what does
unknown,
this mean?
yeah, fur from unknown animal. So, so a couple games against Waterloo today. Today and tomorrow.
Yeah, they've been hot.
They've been scoring a lot of runs, haven't they?
Yeah.
Isn't it? You're looking at the standings, and I mean, first half you guys were the champs, and then you look at the standings, it's almost a little reversed on some of the teams.
It's so funny how it happens. Some teams just figure it out in the second half, and normally we're a second half team, and I mean, we haven't won the first half since 2016.
Right.
So, I mean, the last 2 years that we've gone to playoffs, we've won the second half. So,
Because you look at lacrosse is like a perfect example where they were last in the first half division, and right now they're in first in the second half with just one loss. Yeah, they're 11-1, and Waterloo's 11-3.
yeah,
right
and
now.
last that I had looked,
Mhm.
Waterloo was 10-1,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
lacrosse was what they were at.
Right. So it's a little back and forth there. It's just, but that's how it goes, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of how it goes at this point. You guys are still
Mhm.
overall, if we combine it, winning record too. Looking at, is that something you guys kind of just look at overall records
Overall record matters a little bit more coming to playoffs.
too? Okay. Like for home or away sort of stuff on there.
Mhm.
Okay. So something to kind of pay attention
Yeah.
to as we get
Especially
going
when you get into the Great Plains division championship game.
here. Okay. So something to pay attention to
Mhm.
there. So less than a month though left of the regular season.
You
If you
just
can
made
believe
my
that.
stomach all tipsy topsy.
Really? Is it good way just because it's getting playoffs or nervous?
It's always sad.
Yeah.
This time of year is bittersweet.
Mm-hmm.
Players start to leave that you've gotten to know throughout the course of the season, and you start thinking about interns leaving that you've
Mhm.
known since May, which doesn't feel like a long time, but when you spend every single day together,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard. I always cry at the end of the season.
Yeah.
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 And then my wedding's 2 months away
Oh boy.
on
So
Sunday.
you really don't have a whole lot of off time.
No, so it's like people are like, "Oh, it's 2 months away." I'm like, "No, you gotta think. I've got the season," and then it's like, boom.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, you got a lot of games left at Carson Park. So for a lot of people that still want to
Mhm.
head out to the ballpark and check out the Express,
Yep.
there's plenty of opportunities. I mean, because you guys had a lot of road games to begin the season.
Oh yeah, June was weird.
Mm-hmm. Yep. June was I mean, we're looking at the calendar here with the schedule, and there's a lot of gray, which means road games.
Yep.
So now you're looking at the end of July here, and then even into August. A lot of that, I guess, orange, dark orange, or burnt orange, or
Mhm,
on
like a
there.
burnt orange.
Yeah. So a lot of home games, a lot of opportunities yet to head out to Carson Park
Yep.
and check out the team. So
And it's gonna be beautiful on Thursday.
Mhm.
Thursday and Saturday. It's perfect baseball weather to not come out.
It's kind of reminding me of a little early fall type weather, where
I
it's
love
not.
this
I know.
weather.
I do too. A little chill in the air. It's
Yep.
not so hot.
We went
so-
out and my fiance and I had dinner last night. We ate out on the patio at 44 North, and I was like, the music in the park was going on, and
Mhm.
44 North had all their fireplaces going. I was like, this is my favorite type of weather.
Mhm.
You can sit outside. There's no bugs.
Yep.
you have a sweatshirt on and you're not freezing and you can actually enjoy being outside.
Exactly. I
So
totally
it's a
agree.
perfect reason. We don't have fireplaces at Carson Park. There's too many trees and a lot of wood, but it's still, we have a apparel shop where you can come get sweatshirts.
Exactly. Perfect nights, perfect weather.
Yeah, have some
for
beer.
hitting at the ballpark. Yep, exactly.
Mhm.
So, plenty of time. So, lacrosse Thursday, Saturday, all at home, and then next Monday, you're going to be at home too against the Minot Hot Tots.
Mhm,
They're
for the
coming
first
to town.
time.
Yep, here at Carson Park. So,
Yep.
and they're going to be here for the whole week.
Yep. They're
Next
here the
week.
whole
So,
week. So I've got some fun things lined up for them on Tuesday since it's an off day.
oh, so that's something that you kind of is that your responsibility or something you're just kind of doing on your own?
Something that Craig and I wanted to do for them since
Yeah.
they're going to be here all day.
Right.
So,
A little far
having
away
to
from
sit
home
in
and that.
the hotel all day or
Right.
try and figure something else out to do. So
Nice.
we're going to send them on over to Reboot.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's where we had our little guy's birthday
Yeah.
party. So well done. I like that. So, Sammy, it was good chatting with you again here
as
this
well.
morning. Appreciate it as always. And I'm going to get into that investigation with Dale next week for
fur.
the unknown fur out there. So, if you're not following or subscribing to the Eau Claire Express podcast, the All Aboard Eau Claire Express podcast, make sure you're doing so on your favorite podcasting platforms, especially if you don't hear it live, where we found that fur from.
Yes.
You can check it out on an episode next
Absolutely.
week. So, Sammy, appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll chat with you again soon. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll catch up with Mr. RJ Cardinal coming up after these quick words.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
Dr. Logan Shepke from Shepke Chiropractic is joining me right now. And Logan, it sounds like you just want to give a nice thank you, shout out to some of your patients.
I do.
Out there.
Yeah, it's been awesome. The support we've had, going through the different stages of acquiring the Altoona office, and then now with the new child here. So really thankful for all the referrals that I've been receiving from patients or other medical providers, and the support from my existing patients. You guys have been awesome. So shout out to you guys.
Awesome. That's great to hear. And, looking at the calendar here quickly too, we got football coming up with those youngsters with camp. So it might be a good time to maybe make some appointments and get adjusted before camp and even during football season.
Absolutely. All ages. Yeah. Get in, get yourself straight, and then hit it hard.
Yeah, definitely. And be safe out there too. Right.
That's right.
Exactly. So again, big thank you to everybody who's stopped by to Shepke Chiropractic. And if you want to make an appointment, where do they go to?
ShepkeChiropractic.com.
Since 1946, Ansay & Associates has provided insurance to help secure businesses throughout Wisconsin. Customer satisfaction is our first and foremost priority. As one of Wisconsin's top 10 insurance agencies and among the top 5% of agents nationwide, Ansay & Associates can provide all of your insurance needs, from business, commercial to employee benefits. Ansay & Associates, securing and protecting your American dream.
Get ready to save with half-off deals, a great way for you goods and service you don't have to pay full price. Be sure to check out all the great savings that half-off deals have to offer. There's something for everyone, so be sure to see for yourself. Be ready with your credit or debit card and get ready to save. For more details and to find out about all the savings, just go to aroundthe715.com.
This is Scott Pasak, owner of Kofek Chevrolet. We have a fantastic selection of vehicles in stock, and if you don't see what you're looking for, we will find it for you. We strive to provide an excellent customer experience, so stop in and see what makes Kofek Chevrolet different. Visit both of our lots in downtown Colfax, and for a buying experience completely online, visit KolfaxChev.com. It's always a fantastic day at Kofek Chevrolet.
Economy Furniture in Chippewa Falls is something that you gotta see. The biggest selection for miles around, 2 jam-packed floors of quality. At Economy, you don't have to wait for a sale. It can be yours immediately. Everyday low prices on the best brand names, and we finance it interest-free. Furnishing the Chippewa Valley since 1950. Economy Furniture's for me.
Service Master of Chippewa Valley is your local expert when it comes to fire and water damage, carpet and air duct cleaning, mold remediation, and trauma. They're when you need them 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Trust comes in the yellow truck. Learn more at ServiceMasterChippewaValley.com.
This is Scott Pasak, owner of Koufax Chevrolet. We have a fantastic selection of vehicles in stock, and if you don't see what you're looking for, we will find it for you. We strive to provide an excellent customer experience, so stop in and see what makes Koufax Chevrolet different. Visit both of our lots in downtown Koufax, and for a buying experience completely online, visit KoufaxChev.com. It's always a fantastic day at Koufax Chevrolet.
Voice Guy here, bumping into your programming to remind you to subscribe to the Man Cave Podcast. New episodes uploaded daily, and it's available on your favorite podcasting platform. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Big thanks again to GM Sammy from the Express. If you missed any portion of that conversation, it'll be up on an episode of the All Aboard, the Eau Claire Express podcast later on today. By the way, that those Legion baseball games are at Kasper Park, not Carson Park. My bad. But they'll be at Kasper Park later on this morning, Kasper Park in Chippewa Falls. Let's switch gears here a little bit as we are approaching getting closer to the end of July and into August, which kind of feels a little bit more like football weather and getting ready for camps going on and all that fun stuff. So let's catch up with our good friend, Mr. RJ. I think we lost RJ. I think so. Oh yeah, I think we lost. RJ there a little bit. It's let's see if we can get him back here. But maybe I gotta text him. Or hold on a second. All right, give RJ our number so he can give us a call back here in just a little bit. But getting closer to Badger football, getting ready for camp and such. So we'll chat with RJ about that and all the other stuff that's going on in the college football world right now. A lot of got the media days and such that are going on and all that fun stuff, but getting ready for the upcoming season here. So we'll once RJ gets back on, we'll catch up with him in just a little bit. There he is. Let's see if our phone lines actually. Oh, that sounds better. How you doing?
Doing well, yeah. I was there. It was just really fuzzy, and you sounded like you were farther away than Eau Claire.
Yeah, that's what it kind of sounded like. And I'm like, okay, it's kind of like a computer reboot here. Let's refresh it and see what happens. And it sounds better now. So
yeah, it does.
Yeah, exactly. So RJ, I mean, kind of an update in terms of we're approaching start of the end of July and such. Was it a couple weeks yet away from camp opening up for this Badger football team?
Yeah, they report August 1st,
Okay.
and then they'll be heading on over to Platteville for the UW-Platteville for the first week of camp. So we'll see how all that goes, and yeah, we're not too far away here.
Yeah. So, and they're going to be at Platteville for just for a week, right?
Yeah. So I don't know if that's like the 1st through the 7th, or just maybe through that Saturday, and then they're back here in Madison on the 7th moving forward. But yeah, I haven't seen solid dates, but I've just heard 1 week.
Gotcha.
So could be 5 days, could be coming back that Monday if they really want to go 7 days. But yeah, so yeah, we're not too far away. Let Packers start next week.
Yeah.
Badgers start the week after, and we are in football season.
Yeah. So next week is Big Ten Media Days. It starts on July 26th, so a week from tomorrow. RJ, what's the thing to take away from these media days? I mean, I know you got a coach and some players, and it'll be the first time with the new Big Ten commissioner speaking for the first time at this event. But what do you take away, or what do you pay attention to when it comes to Big Ten Media Days, especially for this year, maybe with Luke Fickell being first year under his regime?
Really just looking at what at least is from this coaching staff and then when they allow the players to talk and do their thing, how then the team is looking at things moving into the season. And usually it's the same type of message, but you tend to get a little different look at things based on the players and coaches. So it's really just, and not just for Wisconsin, but kind of going down the gamut of the entire Big Ten, how, at least with changes that might have happened within a program, even if it's not a new coaching staff, but even within, hey, we hired a new defensive coordinator or something along those lines, how both the head coach and the players feel about it.
RJ, I know one of the players that's going to be speaking at Big Ten or scheduled to speak there is Braylon Allen. If you were, say, advising Braylon Allen, or would you wager a guess, do you think this is going to be Braylon Allen's final year with the Badgers? He's entering his third year. He's kind of, it's the running back, and I'm asking this based off of kind of like what's going on with the running back position in the NFL right now. Yesterday was the big news that, a few of them didn't agree to long-term extensions. So now the conversation's about, the value of running backs in the NFL, and you got to get them early and that sort of thing. But, Braylon Allen, we all, the running joke is about his age. We know how young he is, but he's entering his third year. He is kind of in a unique position where he could potentially enter the NFL under, at a very young age at a running back position. Would you wager to guess, I guess, do you think this is Braylon Allen's final year wearing a Badger uniform?
Personally, I would assume so. You're looking, like you said, you're looking at situations where, unless you're making really good NIL money here, probably want to go leave and get your money while you can in the NFL, making sure whatever shelf life you now have in the eyes of the NFL, you can get the most out of it. And, I think a lot of places I've seen, he's like the number 5 running back ranked right now heading into the season. And, if you're that, don't even know anymore what round that'll be, because it'll all depend on what teams need next year. And that could be a 3rd or 4th round pick if you're the 5th running back, and then depending on the year, it could be a 2nd. It's just one of those. It has now become a position that more of a, and we can pick up a running back. Yeah, so I would think if he has even a decent year, you see him leave for the NFL just because of the situations we're seeing right now. You can go out, be a young running back, and get on a roster, whereas some of these now guys who aren't even 30 yet are not on a roster. So I think it'd be a smart decision to leave and go get the money while you can.
It'd be. I'm kind of curious to get your thoughts on it too. Like if this is kind of a wave where that running back position is, I guess the phrase that's getting thrown out there is devalued in the NFL. Does that have a little bit of a trickle down effect in the college ranks, or does that not really have to players announcing they're entering the draft or anything like that?
Well, I think we're going to start seeing more of a turn towards those every down kind of running backs, not like the bell cow every down, but the guy who doesn't have to come off the field on 3rd and long. So it might do a trickle down in the sense of the NFL is becoming a passing league. So as a running back, you have to be more versatile than, he can catch passes, but more versatile than a Derrick Henry type person. And with Braylon Allen getting a lot of comparisons to that, I think this year in the new style of offense, we'll see maybe more targets for him. We already know he can throw the ball. But it'll be interesting to see moving forward how now the traditional sense of a running back. I mean, the NFL has almost already phased out fullbacks, minus a couple of teams. So we'll see how that goes moving forward for your traditional running back. As I mean, and the University of Wisconsin has seen it for a long time, but it'll be interesting to see. And I think it will cause a change, whether that's for better or for worse. We'll find out when you start getting teams who've completely forgotten how to run block, and if you need to pick up a 4th and short and can't do it, crazy how that works out when you kind of hamstring yourself. But yeah, it's one of those. It's probably more of a change for the, it's the whole how many miles do those legs have on them as a running back, and it seems that shelf life is getting shorter and shorter. I think at one point the average career was 5 years for a running back, and who knows, maybe we'll see it be shorter than that moving forward.
Yeah, you mentioned Braylon Allen within this, new offense and such. What intrigues you, or what is there anything in particular you're going to be kind of interested to see in maybe a different type of version of Braylon Allen in this offense, or is it more so like him being maybe more involved in the passing game or in the receiving game for this offense? What has you intrigued the most about Braylon Allen within this offense?
I think we can possibly see being more involved in the passing game, but it's the fact that you had Longo at North Carolina in one season at 2,000-yard rushers. And I think it's the matchups game, right? He's talked about isolating things to get people one-on-one, opening things up, and not being able to have a defense stack the box against the run, and having the whole system still revolve around the run, making a quarterback try to beat you. It's going to be something where you create that to have a full-on O-line one-on-one against a D-line, or even, that have somebody being able to pick up the guy who's spying on the running back or quarterback to allow more time for things to happen. And that's the most intriguing part, to see what Allen and Malusi can do against, a not 8 or 9 man box. And I think where people are still stuck on the fact that, he Longo's an air raid guy. I don't know if he's an air raid guy. I know he's followed some principles of the air raid, but when you have teams who are still churning out 1,000-yard rushers, you're not truly an air raid. And it's that kind of aspect there, to see how dynamic this offense can be. And it could be one game you're exploiting a weak secondary, and the next game it could be the fact that, hey, we're spreading you out, you have a weak front seven, and we're gouging you for 500 yards of rushing. It's not one of those, hey, we're just going to open it up and pass and occasionally run it. I think we're going to see a pretty, evenly matched pass run offense here. And to say that doesn't change in the future, I don't know. But I mean, Longo came in flat out said, when you have those two running backs, you're not going to abandon the run.
Right.
So I'm really interested to see that come to fruition, and how this Wisconsin team can have people still think about the run, because you do have those two pretty darn good running backs in the backfield, and open things up for your tight ends and receivers.
You and I was going to ask you about him, but you mentioned Chez Malusi on there too. I mean, last year he 112 carries, which was down from the year prior, where he had 173 carries for 815 yards. But it kind of sounds like maybe this year, from listening to you a little bit here, that maybe Chez Malusi is a guy that's going to benefit with this new offense also coming into town.
Oh, absolutely. And another benefit will be as long as he doesn't get injured,
Yeah.
So if we see him stay healthy, I think we could be pushing for the kind of numbers we saw in North Carolina, because, I mean, our receivers are good. Like, in space, we've seen them make spectacular plays. So getting those guys to be more on a level of isolation and one-on-ones rather than playing in zones and things like that, and really where you had teams stacking the box and forcing a quarterback to beat you because we're going to stop the run, and it really couldn't be done. Hopefully we see, like Malusi being able to be more involved in the passing game. He already was, but see him more involved and really be more of a guy where, we might be seeing less carries for both of them and have fresh running backs in, but those less carries don't necessarily mean less yardage. I think there's a bigger opportunity for a lot of home run plays in the running game in this offense. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops. But I think having both of those guys healthy all year round, it'll help them keep their legs more fresh, and it'll also help them be able to, even in, probably blowouts, you're not going to be playing them, but have both of them being about a 100-yard carrier a game. So it'll be interesting to see the dynamic, even though, we've seen it before at Wisconsin where you had up to 3 guys getting ready to almost break the 1,000-yard mark. So it's just new style offense to see how the running game gets done is pretty intriguing.
Have you heard a whole lot? With some of the spring ball and stuff, have you heard anything about maybe some of the newer wide receivers? Like CJ Williams comes to mind. I know there was a lot of excitement when he came over to Wisconsin this offseason. Have you heard of anything about any positive news about how some of these wide receivers have looked so far? I know it's mostly in spring ball, but it seems like it's kind of quiet on our end. Maybe I'm just missing something.
Well, when you have really the only thing open to the public was the launch, and you didn't see great performances out of the quarterbacks there. But when you, like our sports director, Zach Heilprin, when the media was allowed at practice, they said these receivers and like the group as a whole, not necessarily just the new guys who transferred in, but the group as a whole is having a pretty good dynamic with the quarterbacks. So it's one of those. I don't know where everything's going to fall because you still do have some pretty good running backs or wide receivers who were on this team last year. You still have Keontez Lewis, Chimere Dike, and then you have those new transfers in CJ Williams, Bryson Green, Quincy Burrows from Cincinnati, and you still have some Will Pauling, but you still have like Skylar Bell in there too. So it'll be interesting to see how many receivers are actually going to be on the field during all this time. Didn't even mention like Vinny Anthony in there either, because he showed some things when he got time to be on the field last year. So the wide receiving core is going to be pretty deep. And I think I just listed off 7 or 8 names there.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see that rotation because if you have guys, and most of these guys were getting snaps at wherever they were last year. Bell, Lewis, and DK were doing very well here. Bryson Green over at Oklahoma State, CJ Williams over there at USC. Like, they were getting the snaps. It's just now it'll be interesting to see the distribution of the ball for those guys, where it could be a passing attack that looks like on paper the quarterback numbers are good, but maybe some guys are maybe getting less yards than they'd like, but as a whole they're contributing to a team total that'll help open things up and create those matchups that in the off season Phil Longo was talking about.
Do you think this type of offense too will kind of maybe open up for? I know we think of tight ends in Wisconsin, and we can rattle off some names, but do you think this offense will maybe kind of open things up for some of these tight ends, whether it's Hayden, whether it's, Jack Hugh or Cundiff or anything like that? Would you expect maybe more opportunities for some of these tight ends within this offense?
Oh, absolutely, and they'll be used in different ways than they were in the more pro style set that Chris and staff were running. But I can point once again to North Carolina. They had, I think, I forget who it is, but he's in the NFL now. I think he had a year of almost 800 yards receiving. So, it was one of those where, the tight end can be a difference maker in here and doesn't have to be the dynamic playmaker of a mismatch. Because if you can get that one-on-one, he's just really got to beat one guy and really won't have to, go too far to make the offense move. You get 5 yards on a down, you're either halfway there or you made it at some point. So it's one of those. The offense really sounds like it's going to be more geared towards, I don't want to call it an amoeba offense, but it can be one of those, depending on the game, we'll see the different playmakers be highlighted, really depending on the personnel you're going up against.
Mm-hmm. He's RJ Cardinal, our Badger analyst this morning. Dude, appreciate it as always. We might have to hit up on some. I know we focused all on offense this morning, so we might have to hit up some defense next week as we get a little bit closer to camp and such. So if you're ready for that, we'll do that next week, bud.
Yeah, I'll try my darndest.
All right. Well, hey, you have a good rest of your week, bud, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Absolutely. You too. We will see you later.
You got it. RJ Cardinal, Badger analyst this morning. We're going to take our final break, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes to close up shop on this Tuesday morning. tomorrow at ASAP Used Auto Parts. It's their third annual car show going on 5 p.m. until 8 p.m. And for those of you who are bringing out your vehicle for the car show tomorrow night, when you register, you will receive a ticket for a free sandwich, chips, and a pickle from Big Stack Meats food truck that will be on site. Courtesy from ASAP Used Auto Parts and Conrad's Auto Salvage. So whether you're bringing your vehicle over to maybe show it off and make everybody jealous, or you want to check out the impressive lineup yourself, it's the ASAP Used Auto Parts car show starting at 5 p.m. tomorrow, going on until 8 p.m. It's at the ASAP Used Auto Parts location at 1330 Menominee Street in Eau Claire. All right, let's cover some bases, wrap things up here this morning. Earlier, I said I thought the Packers rookies reported on the 20th. I was incorrect. It was It's the 21st. Just saw the entire list here. So the rookies report on the 21st. For any Vikings fans, your rookies report on the 23rd, which is Sunday. So veterans report on the 25th for both Green Bay and in Minnesota. Camp opens up for Green Bay the 26th. Anybody going to the first practice next Wednesday? Anybody going? Anybody? Tonight, Brewers are back in action. Excuse me. Taking on the Philadelphia Phillies on the road. First pitch slated to start around 5:40. Julio Teheran's going to be on the mound for the Crew. Looking to bounce back from his last couple of performances. Julio Teheran, ever since he was with the Brewers, he started off fantastic. Really exceeded a lot of expectations out there. But in his last couple outings, let's call it what it is. He struggled. It wasn't good, giving up a lot of runs. So Brewers hoping that he can find his way back to what he was doing in his first few outings, especially now with the news that Wade Miley was put on the injured list due to some elbow discomfort. Hopefully, it's not a long-term issue, but I think anybody, when you hear elbow discomfort and it's a pitcher, you get a little bit nervous. So, but hopefully it won't be anything too serious and keep him out too long, because he definitely was pitching at a pretty darn good level for the Crew, and you'd like to get him out there, especially with Brandon Woodruff hopefully returning here fairly soon as well. So, again, you can listen to that game at the radio dials of 105.1 FM and 790 AM, only on the radio dials there. What else? We continued out. Was the quarterbacks today. We hit up the defensive line. I think tomorrow we'll maybe hit up the running backs. Maybe we'll hit up the running backs tomorrow. So we'll hit that up as we continue our preview of training camp coming up. Tomorrow will be a week from training camp. So also coming up tomorrow, it is stock reports. So whose stocks are up and whose stocks are down. Play along with us by letting us know whose stocks are up and whose stocks are down. Also, we might do tomorrow. I think we got to do another edition of Showdown. It's been a hot minute, so we'll do that, and then we'll do another trip around the road trip around the sports world, and obviously take a look at a lot of the baseball divisions and such, where everything's kind of playing out before the trade deadline, which is coming up here in just a couple of weeks, August 1st being that trade deadline. So got that all on the docket for tomorrow. And obviously we'll chat about whether the Brewers picked up a win in game one against the Philadelphia Phillies, or we don't want to talk about the other one. So Brewers still up a couple games over the Reds within their division. But we got that coming up. I saw some interesting nuggets here from Mike Vassallo, who is the Brewers director of media relations. So he obviously pipes up the Brewers a little bit here. That's his job and such. But some interesting, kind of cool little nuggets for you Brewers fans out there. Brewers rank in the top 3 in the National League in the following categories from the catching position. So a little Contreras and Victor Caratini. Average, 262 seconds. Hits, second. On base percentage, second. OPS, second. Walks, third. Home runs, 14. they've had 14 home runs. Home runs tied for third. All improvements from last year's numbers, except for walks. They were second in walks last year, third this year. So Brewers went out to try to improve their offensive production from their catching position, from Omar Narvaez to William Contreras and a little Victor Caratini mix in there. And so far, they have done that. Speaking of William Contreras, he extended his hitting streak to 10 games. And he is 429 in his last in that 10-game hitting streak here too. So been talking a lot about Christian Yelich. Christian Yelich in his last 33 games hitting 346 with 29 runs and 6 home runs. He's got a 430 on base, a 615 slugging, and a 1.045 OPS. Brewers also 18-7 in one-run games. Only one team is better at that mark, and that is the Marlins, who are 21-8. 21-8. So there you go. Some interesting nuggets for you for the rest of the day here. All right, shot clock's going to cut me off here in just a few seconds. So again, tomorrow stock reports, get those in. That's your homework assignment for tonight, kids. Whose stocks are up, whose stocks are down. I want to hear from you. Make sure you get that done and hit us up with some text, tweets, Facebook, or comments on the video stream out there. So we'll hit that up, do a little showdown, trip around the road trip around the sports world, and then chat a little Brewers and Phillies, and continue our Packers position preview series tomorrow, hitting up the running backs. DP and the Danettes, they're up next. Have yourself a good Tuesday. We'll be back at it again tomorrow morning, just past 6 a.m.